Hey everyone, very good morning. Good Sunday morning though. Okay, I see. Oh, Manish, Shanvi is there, Shreya, Bhavni, Venkat Lakshmi, Amrit, Gautam, Varun, Apurva, Chanchal. Okay, Deepak Bhai is also there. Good morning. Deepak Bhai is doing a namaste. Namaste, Deepak Bhai. Parth, Sakaram is there. Vedehi, Ritu, Pratima, Sakshi. Good. I see a lot of you joining in. Chat also does a lot of namastes. Okay. वैसे, I don't know if you know this emoji is not namaste. This is high five. If you go and Google this emoji is not for namaste. This is for high five. So, ठीक है, if you're giving a high five, that's also fine. सर कंपनी में पोर्टफोलियो याद नहीं रहते. वेरी गुड अमृत, वेलकम टू चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी कोर्स. अभी तो दोस्त इट इज जस्ट वन सब्जेक्ट. सोचो आपको 5-6 सब्जेक्ट्स याद रखने हैं फाइनल में, तो कितने 8-9 सब्जेक्ट याद रखने हैं. लॉ याद रखना है, ऑडिट याद रखना है, मजा आएगा. वेलकम टू सी ए. चैप्टर 3 का नोट्स डाउनलोड कैसे करें आप आयुष? मैंने तो बुक से पढ़ाया था. आई was just referring to the study material, so I will not be uploading any notes. But you go to BOS website, knowledge portal, there is a capsule. You should go to the capsule, chapter capsule. उसमें chapter number 3 का capsule है for BCK. Go and download that. That can be a good source of notes for you. वो refer कीजिए, right? That is going to be your notes for chapter 3. I'm not going to upload anything because I have already done the study material. Good. Vedi says I already knew ये नमस्ते नहीं हाई फाइव है. वेरी इंद्रजीत, ये जो है ये तो हेलो है. ये वाला इमोजी तो हेलो है. बहुत बढ़िया. कहाँ कहाँ से ढूंढ के इमोजी ला रहे हो. कूल. Let us start where we left last session, which was yesterday. We were talking about chapter number 4. We were talking about government policies and how do they actually help the businesses. How do they create opportunities for the businesses? How do they create challenges for the businesses, like an export policy or an import policy or something that the government wants to probably invest into, as an education policy, electric vehicle policy. इन सब पॉलिसीज के थ्रू सरकार कैसे it probably gains the trust of the business, creates an opportunity for the business. ये आज समझेंगे हम, right? We will get into depth of policy making. We will get into depth of what kind of policies has India adopted over the last 50 years, in the last 30 years, what has happened and what the future looks like. Okay. So that is what this chapter is going to be about. 1-1.5 घंटे में we'll do this. This is not a very long chapter. Okay. This is not a very long chapter. Next week, after this chapter, I want to take a revision test. Okay. Most probably Saturday we will not have a class, but let's see. You will get to see that. Please see the updated schedule next week. Saturday most probably we will not have. We will have a class on Sunday only. Okay, but that Sunday class is going to be a revision class. I want to do chapter 1, 2, 3 and 4 ka revision, right? I have two options. What we can do is we can solve together behind the study material questions. Okay, we can do that. That is going to be interesting, so that यहीं पे प्रैक्टिस हो जाएगी. आपको वापस जाके होमवर्क करना या टाइम देने की जरूरत नहीं है. यहीं पे we will do all the MCQs of study material together, so that any doubts, any questions you have, you can ask those questions right here with me. Or what we can do is I give you a 30-minute quiz. We can do that as well. 30 minutes का quiz भी कर सकते हैं, study material भी कर सकते हैं. So just refer to the schedule before joining on Saturday, Sunday next week. Right? There might be some change. I'm giving you a heads up. So with that, let's get into chapter number 4. We were talking about the history of policy in India, from Takshashila, from Ashoka, from Chanakya to Gupta dynasty to Delhi Sultanate to Mughals to Akbar coming in, British coming in. Everybody brought in some kind of reform. Everybody brought in some kind of policy that they thought was right for the country, and that is how they wanted to operate in the country. And what happened was, with that came in a lot of opportunities for the business. With that came in a lot of probably thought processes of how do I create an opportunity. There was a SWOT analysis, there was a pestle analysis, that businesses of those times were doing, right? If there's a land reform, then they had to go and figure out that let me become a real estate agent. If there was some reform in, let's say, army or defense, people making the defense artillery, the swords and cannons and what not we had, right? Elephants or horses. ये लोग जो भी बना रहे थे उनके लिए बहुत जबरदस्त अपॉर्चुनिटी क्रिएट हो गई थी just because the ruling party, the ruler, the king, the queen, the rulers of the land had a certain policy, had a certain inclination towards a particular industry. And that brought in a lot of probably opportunities and also challenges for some other industries. Right? Awesome. When will schedule updated? By Tuesday, Wednesday, you will see an updated schedule. So we will get that updated as soon as possible so that आप अपना Saturday, Sunday plan कर सकें. Okay, we'll do that. Most probably Saturday नहीं होगी, Sunday class होगी. But please do see the schedule. Okay, perfect. दिस इज योर सेकंड अटेम्प्ट. पहले चैप्टर्स रिवाइज करने चाहिए जो लास्ट अटेम्प्ट में करे थे, या एक दो चैप्टर्स जो रह गए थे पहले वो करे. टाइम है तो पहले जो रह गए थे वो करो एंड देन रिवाइज करो. रियली डिपेंड्स ऑन द टाइम हाउ यू वांट टू प्लान इट, बट जो छूट गया था वो पहले पढ़ लो एंड देन यू रिवाइज बिकॉज यू ऑलरेडी स्टडी दैट बिफोर, राइट? वेरी गुड आयुष. आपको ये सब देख के समझ नहीं आ रहा आप कॉमर्स के हो या आर्ट के. कॉमर्स मतलब क्या, सिर्फ 2 2 + 2 4, 7 + 7 14 ये सब भी पढ़ना है? ठीक है. हाउ विल यू ब्रॉडन योर पर्सपेक्टिव दोस्त? कॉमर्स इज स्ट्रैटेजी. हाउ डू यू अंडरस्टैंड स्ट्रैटेजी? व्हेन यू अंडरस्टैंड हिस्ट्री, व्हेन यू अंडरस्टैंड प्रेजेंट, व्हेन यू अंडरस्टैंड फ्यूचर, तभी तो स्ट्रैटेजी बनाएगा, राइट? कूल. Let's go to India and its public policy. Okay, India and its public policy is very peculiar. Why? I'll tell you. India is one of those countries who wants to balance everything. Okay, India is the only country in the world, if you ever go and read on the internet, it's the only country in the world which has never went out and invaded any other country. Okay, इंडिया इज द ओनली कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड जो कभी किसी और के पास लड़ने नहीं गई है. सिर्फ लोग इसके पास इससे लड़ने आए हैं टू अक्वायर दिस लैंड. इंडिया हैज नेवर वेंट आउट एंड फॉट, right, with any of the countries. That's historically, since ancient India ऐसा नहीं हुआ है. Okay, now what do we do here is, right, what do we understand from this context is its public policy. इंडिया की पब्लिक पॉलिसी बहुत सिंपल है. What they say is, right, you have to balance everything. India's policy, be it economic, be it culture, be it social, whatever it is, they want to balance everything. If you go to US, okay, if you go to the European countries, if you go to the Americas, the North America, South America, Canada, right, you go to Australia, you go to Japan, you go to Korea, you go to China, right, they have a different form of economy. The Western economy is more around market forces. Western economy का concept simple है. What they say is, let people decide demand and supply. If the okay, अभी economics में पढ़ा होगा आपने, right? Economics में पढ़ा होगा. Now tell me, when demand is more, supply is less, what happens to the prices? When the demand is more, supply is less, what happens to the prices? यूज पेज नंबर नहीं है दोस्त, ये आपको खुद स्टडी मटेरियल में देखना पड़ेगा. दीज आर माय नोट्स. पेज नंबर कैसे बताऊं? वेरी गुड मरियम. मरियम का तो दिल अटक गया सीए में. वेरी गुड. बट द क्वेश्चन इज, व्हेन द डिमांड इज मोर, सप्लाई इज लेस, व्हाट हैपेंस टू द प्राइसेस? Prices go up, prices rise, absolutely, right? And vice versa. When the demand is less, supply is more, the prices fall. Western economy इस concept पे काम करती है. Simple. They do not interfere. The government, sarkar, does not interfere in the prices and policies and market forces. सरकार कहती है हमको झमेले में नहीं पड़ना है. Okay? Let people decide the prices of the stuff, right? For example, in US, if you go and you see that a dosa, okay, if you eat a dosa in US, one of the like biggest states, let's say if you go to New York, if you go to like Seattle, right, you go to these affluent, or I would say expensive places, a dosa will be around $10 to $12. Okay, 10-12 डॉलर का डोसा है. आप इंडिया में कन्वर्ट करोगे, 1000 रुपए का डोसा है वहां पे, राइट? Why? Because people are ready to pay for it. The moment people say this is expensive, people will stop buying a dosa for $10, let's say. $10 का डोसा नहीं खरीदेंगे लोग. So when the supply increases and demand falls, the prices of dosa will fall, right? The people who are selling dosa for $10 will have to bring it down to 7, 6, $5 so that people buy their product, right? So market forces decide the demand and supply, the prices of the economy. That is how US works. That is how European countries work. Okay. In US, there is no concept of MRP. MRP is an Indian concept, maximum retail price. हर product के पीछे MRP लिखा होता है. The shopkeeper cannot sell above the MRP in India. There is no concept of MRP in US. In even in European countries, MRP नहीं होती है. कुछ भी प्राइस लगा सकते हो, आपकी मर्जी. Your shop, your price. You decide whatever price you want to sell. People, if feel it is valuable, people feel they can pay that money, they will pay. Otherwise, they will go to separate to different shop. And the demand and supply defines the prices, right? That is how Western economy works. When you come to China, चाइना इज अ वेरी डिफरेंट इकोनॉमी. चाइना कहती है भाई मेरे को नहीं पता ये लोग, माई पीपल विल मैनिपुलेट अ लॉट ऑफ स्टफ. I need to control everything. The government, the sarkar says, I need to control everything. I will keep a check on everything. The companies, how they operate, the prices, the policies, the work culture, the employment status, the hiring process, everything that a business does, I will control everything. Chinese government comes and says, let's say a company BYD. Okay, BYD is a car manufacturing company in China. So China government says, listen, BYD, your capacity of making cars is 1 lakh cars every month. Okay, and I want 80% of your cars to be exported to US and European countries. You have to export 80% of your cars outside of China so that I get forex. Now, BYD has no option but to listen to the government. Even if BYD wants, even if BYD wants to sell more of its cars within China, they cannot. They have to comply with government. The government controls the strategies. The government controls the prices. The government controls everything that the business does. That's a communist form of government. It's communism form of economic policy, right? US, European countries में capitalism होता है, right? It's capitalistic economy where demand and supply function. China is a communism form of economy or policy wherein the government controls everything. Okay. Now, I said it right, Gautam. Maybe you are wrong. Okay. Now, if I come to India, what does India have? India has a mixture of both. I said you have to balance everything. India tries to balance everything. Okay. If you go to see a price of a veg thali, if you go and eat a veg thali, the government library is 30 rupees. If you go to a government library, a subsidized library owned or operated by the government, the veg thali will be somewhere around 30, 40 rupees. If you go to a railway canteen, okay, you would see around 60, 70 rupees, 80 rupees for a veg thali. And if you go to a restaurant, which is a high-end restaurant, you would even have a good thali for 200, 300 rupees, right? You go for a veg buffet, it will be like 700, 800 rupees plus GST. So the prices are open. The people of the country have options. The people of the country have a lot of options. Either they want to go to a subsidized place or they want to go to a quality private owned place, which is offering a lot more of services, but at a higher price. It's a mixed economy. In the private sector where the businesses are operating, it's demand and supply. The government tends not to interfere to a limit, but they have MRP. सरकार ने अपनी थोड़ा सा इंटरफेरेंस करके they have kept an MRP so that the poor or the not so affluent society of the country also gets access to necessities and access to goods and services. इसलिए MRP का concept आया था इंडिया में, right? But they also have subsidized places like for senior citizens, for women. In Delhi, there is no bus ticket for women, right? That's a mixed economy example, right? The government is controlling some prices for the benefit of the society. Now, if somebody wants to book an Uber, the government does not tell a woman passenger that, "अरे Uber लोगे तो आपको 50% discount मिलेगा." नहीं. They're saying the kind of services we provide as government, that is bus transport, that is public transport, it is free for you. If you want to travel for free, we are doing it free for you. But if you want to travel in Uber, right, you have to pay the entire amount what the business is charging. We are not going to interfere in the prices of Uber, right? So that is a mixed economy. That is how India operates. And that is how India operates since its independence. Is it or not? We'll read about that. ठीक है? Why is India a mixed economy? ये हम पढ़ेंगे अभी आगे इस चैप्टर में कि यहाँ तक हम पहुंचे क्यों. Why are we even a mixed economy? Why do we even need a mixed economy? Why can't we be a capitalist economy and become a developed country like a US or a UK or a Spain or Portugal, right? हम क्यों नहीं हो सकते हैं ऐसे? हम क्यों नहीं हो सकते हैं भाई आयरलैंड जैसे? हम क्यों नहीं हो सकते हैं भाई फ्रांस जैसे? व्हाई कांट वी बी लाइक अ यूएस कैपिटलिस्ट इकोनॉमी? कोई प्राइजेस नहीं है. लेट कंज्यूमर्स डिसाइड एवरीथिंग एंड लेट्स बी आल्सो अ डेवलप्ड इकोनॉमी. There are challenges, right? There are challenges, and we will just study about that in this chapter. कि ऐसा क्यों हुआ? Okay. But the conclusion is Western countries are capitalist, China is more of communist, and India is more of mixed economy. Okay. Remember this. I see a few questions. Let's see those questions and then go to the next one. Okay. This is the reason there are so many beggars in America. Could be one of the biggest reasons, but I don't know, Chanchal. We'll have to study more if that's the reason, right? I'm not very sure if that is the reason there are so many beggars. I think you're watching a lot of reels. I also see a lot of reels about beggars in America. Okay. क्या चाइना में सभी स्कूल को गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल करता है? एब्सोल्युटली यस. राशन कार्ड फॉर फ्री इन इंडिया, दैट्स मिक्स्ड इकोनॉमी. दैट इज राइट. दैट इज राइट. यू गेटिंग द कॉन्सेप्ट. Awesome. Earlier, we opted socialist economy before 1991, right? We'll study about that. But you're right, Shoaib. You're right. Is Japan a capitalist or a communist or a mixed economy? It's more of capitalist. Sarkar tries to do a lot of things, but generally businesses only own. So it's 80-20 mix. See, mixed economy, India is also more like 50-50 tha, but now India is also becoming 70-30 mixed economy, where 70 is like capitalist, 30 is communist. Okay. So mix change hota rehta hai. Mix doesn't mean 50-50. Just remember this. Mixed economy does not mean 50-50 mix. It can be any ratio. It can be 90-10, it can be 50-50, it can be 40-60, it can be 30-70, right? कुछ भी हो सकता है. But again, it's a mixed economy. नॉर्थ कोरिया की इकोनॉमी है कहाँ दोस्त जो डिफाइन करोगे? इट्स प्योर कम्युनिस्ट. 100% कम्युनिस्ट इकोनॉमी. वहां तो आप सांस भी नहीं ले सकते हो बिना पूछे. दिस इज चैप्टर नंबर 4, हर्ष. दिस इज चैप्टर नंबर 4 जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं. सो के उठा है ये. People pay equal tax in USA. I'm not very sure. I don't think so. That's the case. There are also loopholes there. People are very smart there as well. India may, the government used to have a lot of share, but now the government is reducing its share of influence in the economy. But it still has a lot of influence. But उतना ज्यादा नहीं है जितना पहले था. See, many other countries, are neighbors as well, are a lot of mixed economy. If you look at Bhutan, if you look at Pakistan, so many countries are mixed, but the ratio differs again. That is what I said. The ratio of saying mixed differs, right? Okay. Before 1947, India is a mixed economy. Let's study about that in this chapter. Okay. Cool. Let's go to the next one. Based on comparison, policy regime of mid 50s versus since 1990s. This is where all of your doubts are, right? सब लोग यही पूछ रहे हैं कि भाई क्या है फर्क, पहले कैसे थे अब कैसे हो गए. Okay. So evident nature of economic system earlier, policy before in 1950s, mid 50s, when we were just becoming a republic, an independent country. right? What was happening versus what has happened since 1990s, where when the reform in our economy came. So last, so 1950 to 1990, and then 1990 to 2023, which is like almost 30 years now. So what, how has the economy changed? Very quickly. Earlier 1950s में we were socialistic economy with a dominant public sector, ठीक है? LIC था, गेल था, कोल, SBI, तब एक्सिस बैंक, HDFC बैंक कुछ भी नहीं था. चैप्टर 3 में पढ़ा है ना हमने. रिलायंस कब आया, HDFC बैंक कब आया, एक्सिस बैंक कब आया. These are very recent companies and banks, right? These are huge companies but very recent. These are not independence के time की companies. Even if they started, they were not as huge. They became big after 1990s, right? Because then the government told them कि जाओ free हो, जो करना है करो. But earlier, the government controlled a lot of things because we were very weak economy. We were very new, so the government had to control a lot of things, right? Our instrument of governance was economic planning, and now it is market-based mechanism, right? You want to buy a Domino's, you buy a Domino's for 1,000 rupees. You want to eat a subsidized food, you get a thali for 50 rupees also on the roadside. कुलचे छोले खा लो 30 रुपए के ऑप्शन है, ठीक है? यू वांट टू बाय कुलचे छोले इन हल्दीराम फॉर 250 रुपीज, वो भी आपके पास ऑप्शन है, राइट? मार्केट मैकेनिज्म को डिसाइड करने दे रहे हैं. द गवर्नमेंट इज सेइंग ठीक है आपकी मर्जी है, यू फिगर आउट हाउ मच यू वांट टू स्पेंड, यू हैव ऑल द ऑप्शंस इन द इकोनॉमी. You decide your expenses, you decide your sources of income, you have all the opportunities, you decide how much money you want to make and how you want to spend that money, right? Openness orientation. It was a closed economy. The external companies could not come, the foreign companies could not come to India, the Indian companies could not go to other countries, right? But after 1990s, the doors opened, right? And we became a global economy. A lot of foreign companies came to India, MNCs, BPOs, McDonald's, Domino's, KFC. These big banks started coming in, big MNCs in pharma, in technology, and this and that. Everyone started coming to India. Indian companies started going outside. Indian people started going outside. And that was an openness orientation since 1990s, which was earlier not there. Role of government in the business, right? The government earlier had an acquiring commanding heights through public sector undertaking, which means businesses को government बहुत ज्यादा control करती थी पहले. But now the state ownership of businesses as exception, like privatization of public sector undertakings as well. LIC को privatize कर दिया, UTI privatize हो गया, mutual funds आ गए, the banks became private. A lot of banking system is majority private as on date, right? Education is privatized. You have private schools, you have private boarding schools, you have government schools as well. Education is privatized. Even railways now is privatized, right? IRCTC, Tejas Express. Tejas is owned by Adani, right? Trains from Adani, trains are running, Reliance is running trains, Tata is running trains, the trucks, the roads, everything has a mix of public-private partnership. The government has reduced its control and given opportunity, given open opportunities to the private sector. Okay. Role of government in private business. First, regulated and control. Now it is liberalization of regulations. What does liberalization means? Who will tell me what is liberalization? Liberal होना क्या होता है? Please explain me what is liberalization. What does liberalization mean? All the private sector. क्या all the private sector क्या होगा ना? Goshe, you will have to ask the full question. All the private sector होगा क्या? All the private sector होगा. Education all private sector होगा. Food all private sector होगा क्या? All private sector होगा. India is again becoming closed economy because of banning laptops and imports. No, it's becoming a self-sufficient economy now. Okay. यार बाहर की जनता आके यहाँ बनाएगी तो यहाँ के लोग क्या करेंगे? We are becoming self-sufficient. Reducing control of government, reducing restrictions, free from regulation. Okay. private sector control, not to be restrict or free, loose restrictions, freedom of private sector. See, anybody who is saying freedom of private sector or more opportunity to private sector, that is privatization. Liberalization, people who are saying the right thing are when you reduce the restrictions and controls. That is called liberalization. If your mother and father do not ask a lot of questions for you when you're going out, they're liberal. That means they're not creating restrictions on you. They're not asking so many questions. They're not stopping you from doing a lot of things. That is being liberal. Okay. That is what the government is also doing. Government नहीं आके पूछती है कि अरे क्या प्राइस चल रहा है आजकल आपके प्रोडक्ट का, ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हो, वैसा क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो. They're not asking questions to the business about their strategy. They're just asking questions ki, are you paying the taxes? Are you doing the right thing for the society, right? Are you into ethical business? चोरी चकारी तो नहीं कर रहे हो, environment को तो नहीं harm कर रहे हो. Are you not like you're not like bribing the government officials? You're not escaping the tax brackets. You're not planning or maybe tax terrorism वगैरह तो नहीं हो रहा है, right? That is what they try to check. They're not controlling your strategies. They're not controlling your earning potential. They're just controlling the ways of the collection of taxes. Bas. And that is called liberalization. Easy going hona, ज़्यादा ची nahi karna is what liberalization means. Okay? Great. From a business perspective, I've been talking this a lot about this particular concept, that business perspective से policy brings two things only. Opportunity लाती है और threat लाता है, और कुछ नहीं होता. या तो opportunity होगा या तो threat होगा, right? And the business has to respond strategically. How the business will respond strategically, we have already studied that in chapter number 2. Holistic and internal strategies, administrative, competitive, collective, least resistance, proactive, right? हमने पढ़ा है ये सब. Yes, we have studied all of this. All the chapters are interlinked. तो चैप्टर 2 में हमने होलिस्टिक अप्रोच पढ़ा है, वी हैव इंटरनल अप्रोच पढ़ा है, तो चेंज इन एनवायरनमेंट, ये एनवायरनमेंट चेंज ही तो है. दिस इज एन एक्सटर्नल एनवायरनमेंट चेंज. सो द बिजनेसेस हैव टू रिस्पॉन्ड स्ट्रेटेजिकली टू द चेंजेस. इट कैन ईदर बी एन अपॉर्चुनिटी और कैन बी अ थ्रेट. ओके सर, लैपटॉप का इंपोर्ट बंद होगा तो क्या इंडिया अपना सॉफ्टवेयर बनाएगा या माइक्रोसॉफ्ट जैसी कंपनीज का यूज करेगा? वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन मनीष. इंडिया के पास अपना कौन सा सॉफ्टवेयर है पहले ये बताओ मुझे, एंड देन आई विल आंसर योर क्वेश्चन. ठीक है, द आंसर इज हिडन इनसाइड योर क्वेश्चन इटसेल्फ. कूल. द स्पेक्टर ऑफ गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज फॉर बिजनेस. ओके, नाउ बिजनेस जो गवर्नमेंट होती है ना, गवर्नमेंट क्रिएट्स एन इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसी. The government creates an economic policy, and that is at two levels. Please understand this concept very carefully. Economics का concept है, या पहले पढ़ चुके हो 11th 12th में. I'm just revising it for you. Economic policies created by the government are at two broad levels. Number one is macroeconomic management, जिसके अंदर fiscal policy और monetary policy आती है. Okay. The economic policy is divided into two broad categories: macroeconomic management and sector management. When I talk about macroeconomic management, they are of two types: fiscal policies and monetary policies. Fiscal policy is all about budgets, expenditure, कहाँ से पैसा आएगा, कहाँ खर्च होगा, right? The income sources and expenditure areas is fiscal policy. Monetary policy is all about the availability of money in the economy, the flow of currency, the flow of credit in the economy is monetary policy. The rate of interests, right? क्या होगा, कितना क्रेडिट होगा देश में, लोन कितना है, डेट कितना लेना है, कितने इंटरेस्ट रेट पे देना है, करेंसी कौन सी होगी, 1000 रुपीज के नोट्स बंद हो जाए, 2000 के नोट बंद हो जाए, 500 की इकोनॉमी बढ़ जाए. द कैश फ्लो इन द इकोनॉमी, whether it has to be a digital economy or cash based economy, how do you control black money, all of this is monetary policy. And fiscal policy is taxation, budgets, expenditures, planning, the road construction budgets, the railway budgets, the education budget, the defense budget, all of this is fiscal policy. That is what the government creates. The second broad area of economic policies is called sector management. Sector wise economic policies banati hai government. The government creates economic policies based on based on sectors. Economic policy for agriculture means agriculture policy, industrial policy, and then you have foreign trade and investment policy, right? Agriculture policy is giving subsidies in agriculture lands, free electricity, free land, no land tax, no electricity tax, water availability, giving them credits to the government. चैप्टर 5 में हम लोग पढ़ेंगे नाबार्ड के बारे में. एग्रीकल्चर पॉलिसी का पार्ट है वेर इन वी गिव क्रेडिट टू गवर्नमेंट और सॉरी टू एग्रीकल्चर बिजनेसेस, राइट. सस्ते लोन देते हैं, चीप लोन्स we give to agriculture businesses so that they can grow agriculture. खाना तो सबको चाहिए. 150 crore people need food 3 times a day at least. कितना खाना चाहिए भाई. एग्रीकल्चर पॉलिसी लगेगा, राइट. इंडस्ट्रियल पॉलिसी, पीपल नीड जॉब्स, ओके. So industrial policy is required to create opportunities in industry. लैपटॉप वाला एग्जाम्पल आप लोग दे रहे हैं, that is industrial policy. That is FTX, फॉरेन ट्रेड प्लस इंडस्ट्रियल, दोनों का मिक्स है. फॉरेन ट्रेड से लैपटॉप बंद किया, पर इंडिया में बनाने के लिए यू विल हैव टू एनकरेज द बिजनेसेस to create laptops in India as well. You cannot just say no to foreign products but not be able to produce it within yourselves. You also need to be able to produce that within your own country. That is industrial policy. Giving them subsidies, cheap loans, bringing policies, creating roads, creating areas of development for them. SEZ, Special Economic Zone, chapter number 3 में पढ़ा था, right? Creating SEZs for industries to come and do that. पोर्ट्स बनाओ ताकि सामान आ पाए, वो इंपोर्ट कर पाए, हाई क्वालिटी मेंटेन कर पाए, राइट. गिविंग देम टैक्स हॉलीडेज विच मीन्स नॉट चार्जिंग हाई टैक्स फॉर द नेक्स्ट 5 years or next 10 years, right? Giving them exemptions in taxation. All of this is a part of industry sectoral management, राइट. फिजिकल पॉलिसी के अंदर हम लोग टैक्स की बात कर रहे हैं, बट कौन से सेक्टर के लिए वो टैक्स का हम बात कर रहे हैं, दैट इज सेक्टरल मैनेजमेंट, ओके. फाइनली देयर इज द थर्ड वन विच इज कॉल्ड फॉरेन ट्रेड एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट पॉलिसी. नाम से ही हमको समझ आ रहा है क्या करता है ये. इट्स अबाउट द एक्सपोर्ट एंड इम्पोर्ट पॉलिसी. व्हाट शुड बी एक्सपोर्टेड, हाउ मच शुड बी एक्सपोर्टेड, व्हाट शुड बी इम्पोर्टेड, हाउ मच शुड बी इम्पोर्टेड. I gave you the example of Ferrari and Lamborghini, right? That is foreign trade and investment policy related economic policy decision of the government. ठीक है जी, very good. Does the monetary policy decide the value of currency like a dollar is equal to 80 rupees? That's an external thing. Government cannot decide. The government of India cannot decide the price. They can try to control the price, influence the price, but they cannot decide. It's a global mandate. It's a global calculation. It's not just India internal calculation, okay? Very good. How can you study for CA foundation exam? Ganesh, after the class, ask these questions after the class. Right now, please focus on the chapter. Chapter पढ़ोगे तो अपने आप हो जाएगा. HP is planning to invest $300 million for manufacturing laptops in India. Absolutely. See, that is how you bring money into the economy. Good. Can a service sector policy also be included? It's part of industrial itself. When we say industrial, it is not just goods. Industry is also our services. Wherever we say industry, goods, products, it includes services as well. Okay, always. तो आपने अभी पढ़ रहे हैं, थोड़ा सा यू विल हैव टू बी पेशेंट. आ रहे हैं आपकी एलपीजी पे भी आ रहे हैं, एलपीजी भी आएगा. Great. Who decides the exchange rate of currency? It's a global thing, right? बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स होते हैं. इट इज नॉट जस्ट कि डॉलर बढ़ रहा है आपका. a lot of things like crude oil is there, supply chains are there, then your economic growth is there, your GDP growth is there, the potential of the country is there. बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स होते हैं, right? कूल। ये सारे आफ्टर एग्जाम क्वेश्चंस प्लीज, आई ऑलवेज सिट हियर फॉर 5-10 मिनट्स आफ्टर द क्लास, आज दीज क्वेश्चंस, न्यूज़पेपर कौन सा पढ़ना है, कौन सी मैगजीन पढ़नी है, कहाँ से एग्जाम करूं, एग्जाम कैसे पास करूं। आई ऑलवेज स्टे आफ्टर द क्लास फॉर 10 मिनट्स, आज दीज क्वेश्चंस, देन तभी कोई नहीं पूछता है। तभी सब ओके बाय घर जाने दो, तभी ये सब क्वेश्चंस पूछने हैं। अभी तो वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द चैप्टर, एनी क्वेश्चंस ऑन द कॉन्सेप्ट, आस्क दोस, प्लीज आस्क इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चंस। यू गाइस आर 18, 19, 20 years old, अच्छे क्वेश्चंस पूछो। हु इज फिक्सिंग द मार्केट रेट? हु इज फिक्सिंग द मार्केट, डिमांड एंड सप्लाई दोस्त। कोई घर बैठ के तो ना फिक्स करता है कि आज टुडे मॉर्निंग आई वेक अप एंड से टोमेटो शुड बी 20 रुपीज, तो पूरे इंडिया में 20 रुपए का टमाटर हो जाएगा क्या? नहीं। इट्स डिमांड एंड सप्लाई। If the supply in from the agriculture sector or the farmers is less and the demand of tomatoes is high, the prices will increase. Simple है। हाँ तो वैष्णवी वही तो है मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी, आपको क्रेडिट कितना मिलेगा, SLR CLR अभी पढ़ेंगे हम लोग, सब आना है चैप्टर 5 में आपका। मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी पूरा इन डेप्थ घुस के पढ़ेंगे हम लोग। खुशी, आपका सवाल क्या था पहले तो मुझे वो ही नहीं दिखा है आपका। व्हाट वाज योर सवाल? सोशलिस्ट इज इक्वल टू कम्युनिस्ट, एक मैं अभी पढ़ रहा हूँ, यस। What is what was the question? एक बार फिर से पूछिए प्लीज। Okay, which is India has its own processor? What is processor? कंप्यूटर का? ये IT वाले आ गए हैं हमारे CA क्लास में, राइट? क्या मालूम दोस्त? You have to go and read about the news. इंडिया का कौन, which laptop have you ever used of an Indian company? पहले तो मुझे ये बताओ। Okay, sectoral management, Angel. Sector wise economic policies are sectoral management. Understand it as simple as that. Agriculture sector, industries, and foreign trade and investment policy. The economic policy is divided into three sectors, is agriculture, industrial and foreign trade and exchange policy और investment policy. ये तीन सेक्टर्स बनाए, इन तीन सेक्टर्स के लिए इकोनॉमिक डिसीजन लिया, वो होता है आपका सेक्टोरल। ओके जी। हाउ द पावर ऑफ मनी इज कैलकुलेटेड, वेरी गुड आयुष। वो भी पढ़ाएंगे आपको, चैप्टर 5 में ना RBI है, तभी पढ़ेंगे ये जबरदस्त, की पावर ऑफ मनी कैसे कैलकुलेट होता है, और एग्जाम के क्वेश्चंस उससे आएंगे, मजा आएगा उसमें। व्हाट इज द रीजन फॉर इन्फ्लेशन ऑफ टोमेटोज? डिमांड एंड सप्लाई, एज सिंपल एज दैट। People are not producing enough tomatoes and we want a lot of tomatoes, or if they're producing a lot of tomatoes, they are not selling them, they are doing black marketing, होल्ड कर लेते हैं, संभाल के रख लेते हैं, बेचेंगे ही नहीं। तो लोगों को लगता है सप्लाई नहीं है टमाटर की, तो वो प्राइस बढ़ जाता है, राइट? मोर द डिमांड लेस द सप्लाई, द प्राइसेस विल इंक्रीज। बिल्कुल, आज चैप्टर खत्म कर देंगे आपका कोशिश करके। ओके, फिजिकल स्टिमुलेशन। फिजिकल स्टिमुलेशन कहाँ से पढ़ रहे हो पहले मुझे ये बताओ, गिव मी द फुल सेंटेंस वेयर यू स्टडीइंग द वर्ड फिजिकल स्टिमुलेशन अब्दुल। फिजिकल पॉलिसी, टैक्सेशन एंड एक्सपेंडिचर। हाउ डू यू कलेक्ट टैक्सेशन, टैक्स रेट क्या होगा, एंड व्हेन यू कलेक्ट सो मच ऑफ मनी, लाइक GST आपने कलेक्ट किया, राइट? वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट GST यस्टरडे की 1,50,000 crore का GST किया, बट आप उसको खर्चा कहाँ करोगे? वे विल यू स्पेंड दैट lakhs and crores of rupees, whether education or building a highway or building your railways or building your universities? That is fiscal policy. How do fiscal policies impact business? So easy. जहां पे गवर्नमेंट वांट्स टू स्पेंड द मनी, वहां पे अपॉर्चुनिटी बन गई बिजनेस के लिए। सी, जून 23 में पॉलिसी का क्वेश्चन आया था, अमृत इज टेलिंग, बी रेडी, क्वेश्चंस कैन कम फ्रॉम हेयर। जियो लैपटॉप, वेरी गुड, देखते हैं कितना चलेगा। हाउ द पावर ऑफ करेंसी इज डिसाइड ऑफ डिफरेंट कंट्रीज। ये आयुष तो पीछे ही पड़ गया दोस्त। बोला तो आरबीआई पढ़ेंगे चैप्टर 5 में, तब पढ़ेंगे। आंसर नहीं सुनना है, सिर्फ सवाल पूछे जाओ। दे भी रहा हूँ आंसर, वो सुनोगे नहीं, सिर्फ एक ही सवाल वो रिपीट पे। चैप्टर नंबर 5 में सर आरबीआई आएगा, तब आपको समझाएंगे हाउ द पावर ऑफ मनी इज डिसाइडेड फॉर अ कंट्री। आयुष की कह रहे हैं गवर्नमेंट के पास तो पैसे छापने की मशीन है। हाँ ठीक है सर, वेरी गुड। इन्फ्लेशन नाम का कॉन्सेप्ट सुनना कभी प्लीज। आई डोंट नो, यू गाइस हैव गॉन थ्रू 11th एंड 12th, और आप लोग इन्फ्लेशन कह रहे हो, मशीन इन्फ्लेशन नहीं समझ आया अभी तक। हाउ इज दैट पॉसिबल, मुझे ये बताओ। व्हाट वर यू स्टडिंग इन 11th एंड 12th then? Is banking policy part of sectoral management? No, that's part of monetary policy. Banks are more of money management. Okay, I'm taking last few questions and then we go to the next topic. ओम पढ़ेंगे ये भी, ये बीसीके का नहीं है कि काला धन कैसे रोकें, बट आफ्टर क्लास आस्क मी, आई टेल यू हाउ टू डू दैट। ओके, वेरी गुड। ये आईटी वाली जनता को आई एम नॉट रीडिंग अभी, आई वांट टू कंप्लीट द चैप्टर। ओके, कैन बैंकिंग पॉलिसी बी पार्ट ऑफ सेक्टर? आई एक्सप्लेन दैट, परफेक्ट। अच्छा, फिजिकल स्टिमुलेशन आया। आफ्टर कोविड इज समथिंग लाइक रिवाइविंग इकोनॉमी फ्रॉम गेटिंग डाउन। सी, स्टिमुलस, ओके, स्टिमुलस इज सपोर्ट। ओके, इट्स स्टिमुलेशन नहीं, वो स्टिमुलस होता है। ओके, फिजिकल स्टिमुलस इज मॉनेटरी सपोर्ट जो हम सरकार देती है, राइट? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, after COVID, the medicines were subsidized a lot. Okay. The medicines were subsidized. That means the medicines, for example, I don't know, during COVID, जो गले की दवाई थी, right? Because the people had a lot of cough and a lot of problems in throat. The medicine prices of those throat infection tablets was around 10 rupees, which became around 150 rupees for one tablet. Now, what government does is it gives fiscal stimulus, which means the government says, okay, 150 की है, I'm not gonna interfere. मैं interfere नहीं करूंगी, but मैं क्या करूंगा, मैं उसमें से 90 रुपीज सरकार will pay, you pay only 60 rupees now, right? So that is called fiscal stimulus, supporting the market, supporting the consumers, supporting the economy. When there is a bust of an economy, when the economy goes crash, the government comes in and puts in a lot of money to stabilize things. To just like tomato, just like onions. Now the government is saying we are going to sell tomatoes at 80 rupees from our local government shops. They are giving fiscal stimulus. They are support. ऐसा नहीं है टमाटर का प्राइस गिरा दिया उन्होंने, उन्होंने कहा हम आपको 80 रुपीज का लाके देंगे। If somebody wants to sell it for 300 rupees, they are free to sell. But we will give you for 80 rupees as well. You have to come to our shop and buy it. That's called fiscal stimulus, supporting the economy. Okay. Very good. आशा, आपका क्वेश्चन कहाँ है मेरे को? फिजिकल रिसोर्स एंड टेक्नोलॉजी कैपेबिलिटीज आर वन ऑफ द कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ। ऑप्शन तो दो। आपको ऑप्शन मिलते, मुझे क्यों नहीं ऑप्शन मिल रहे हैं? और क्वेश्चन कहाँ पढ़ रहे हो ये भी बताओ मुझे। अच्छा, कौन से चैप्टर की स्टडी मटेरियल में, वो भी बताना, विल डू दैट। ग्रेट। विद दैट देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन फॉर यू, अ लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस फॉर मी। अभी किसी का आंसर गलत हुआ, ठीक है, अभी किसी का आंसर गलत हुआ, तो अब मैं पकड़ूंगा। मेरे से बहुत सवाल पूछ रहे हैं ना, टमाटर का प्राइस कितना है, कंप्यूटर कहाँ से बनेगा, देश में लैपटॉप कौन लाएगा सर, टमाटर का ऑल्टरनेटिव बता दो। अभी जवाब गलत हुआ ना, तो इधर से ही पकड़ूंगा मैं। हाँ, ये सूरज भी आया ना, मेरे को लैपटॉप बता दो। मैं सर कौन सा लैपटॉप लूं? भाई ये पहले सवाल का जवाब दो। अगर ये गलत हुआ तो लैपटॉप में वहीं से ऐसे उल्टा करके देंगे हम। बीसी के पढ़ने आए हैं इधर, अलग ही यूट्यूब चैट खोल के रखी हुई है। हाँ जी, जनता। सेक्टोरल भी आ गया, फिस्कल भी आ गया, वेरी गुड। मतलब किसी का तो गलत है। अभी जिसका गलत है ना, अभी पकड़ूंगा मैं। टमाटर के भाव बता दो, कंप्यूटर बता दो। स्टार्टिंग अबाउट पॉलिसी, अलग ही दुनिया चल रही है। अमृत हिंदी में और कितनी हिंदी बताऊं? अमृत, आपको क्या कॉन्सेप्ट समझ नहीं आया वो पूछिए, मैं आपको वो हिंदी में बताऊंगा। पूरी क्लास तो वी कांट डू इन हिंदी। बट आपको कोई कॉन्सेप्ट मिस हो गया, यू फील कि आपको ये कॉन्सेप्ट समझ नहीं आया, वो पूछो। हाँ, वेरी गुड। ए भी ऑप्शन है, बी भी ऑप्शन है, सी भी ऑप्शन आया है, बहुत ही बढ़िया। मतलब कुछ लोग तो पक्के गलत हैं। अभी किधर गई टमाटर आईटी गैंग? वेयर इज द टमाटर गैंग? वेयर इज द लैपटॉप गैंग? सर, लैपटॉप जियो का क्यों नहीं ले सकते हम? हमारे पास कौन सा सॉफ्टवेयर है इंडिया में? अभी ये स्टिमुलस पैकेज ऑफ एमएसएमई इन इंडिया वुड फॉल अंडर विच पॉलिसी? पहले ये बताओ दोस्त। लैपटॉप बाद में खरीदना। मरियम, आई जस्ट टोल्ड स्टिमुलस पैकेज मींस सपोर्ट, राइट? योर अंकल केम, योर आंटी केम एंड दे गेव यू 2000 रुपीज की जाओ शॉपिंग करो। दैट इज स्टिमुलस पैकेज फॉर यू। अरे मजे आ गए, पैसे मिल गए, जाओ खर्च करो, इन्वेस्ट करो, बिजनेस बनाओ अपना। दैट इज कॉल्ड स्टिमुलस पैकेज। वेरी गुड। आंसर आपकी स्क्रीन पे दे, आंसर्स आर ऑन योर स्क्रीन। किधर गई? सेक्टोरल। सेक्टोरल जनता किधर है? वेर इज मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी जनता? क्या हो गया, टमाटर गल गए आप लोग के? कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं समझना है, सिर्फ पकड़ लो। Why is it a fiscal policy, dost? Why is it a fiscal? Stimulus package is an expenditure for the government. Focus. Stimulus package is an expenditure for the government. खर्चा है ना सरकार का. Fiscal policy is all about creating income and doing expenses. The budgeting, the allocation of funds is fiscal policy. Stimulus package for micro, small and medium enterprises, MSME, in India would fall under fiscal policy. Sectoral क्यों? कौन सा सेक्टर है एमएसएमई बताना? Which sector is MSME? Every sector has an MSME. So how can this be sectoral policy? Monetary policy. करेंसी की बात कहाँ हो रही है? Where are we talking about cheap loans? Where are we talking about कि 1000 के नोट देंगे या 2000 के नोट देंगे? We're just talking about the government wants to spend money, support stimulus package, support the small and medium enterprises of India. They want to spend money on them. Fiscal policy, budgeting, allocation of funds. ठीक है सर? वेरी गुड। I mean, I'm trying to do both English and Hindi. Hope that's clear now. Cool. Let's go to the next one. Macro policy indicators. Somebody was after my life asking, पावर ऑफ मनी कैसे पता चलती है? बताओ मुझे, मेरे को सांस नहीं आ रही है, मुझे बता दो कैसे पावर ऑफ मनी चलती है दोस्त। पार्ट ऑफ योर आंसर इज हेयर, ओके? मैक्रो पॉलिसी इंडिकेटर्स: जीडीपी, इन्फ्लेशन, टैक्स रेट, इंटरेस्ट रेट, एक्सचेंज रेट। Five broad macro policy indicators of the country tells you how strong a country is, tells you how powerful a country is, tells you how the future of the country looks like. And that decides the power of your currency, that decides the strength of your currency. Okay. GDP, inflation, tax rate, interest rate, and exchange rate. ठीक है जी? Even before I explain these concepts. I will ask questions to you now. Okay, it's your class. मेरी क्लास नहीं है, मुझे आता है दोस्त ये, मैं पास कर चुका हूँ. It's been 5 years I've cleared my examination. Okay, now what happens to a country if the tax rate is very high? Let's suppose India का tax rate is 70%. The tax rate in India, let's say, is 70%. What will you infer from this information? What do you think is going to happen to the economy if the tax rate is 70%? बताइए क्या होगा? Is it good for the economy? Bad? And how will this be inferred or assumed? Is it a powerful country or a weak country? Tax rate assume इंडिया में 70% है. What are your thoughts? Disposable income decreases. Very good answer, Angel. Okay, that's a very smart answer. Purchasing power decreases. Same goes with Kritika. Great. No one is going to get loan. Super home. लोन ही नहीं मिलेगा. लोन की स्पेलिंग गलत है. Anyway, Saloni, expenditure of people will fall. Great. Aditya says bad. आदित्य तो मैनेजर आदमी है. See that bad. गलत बात. Okay. People will do tax evasion. Very good, Angel. गलत काम ही करो सारे. Weak country, bad. Weak country, price increase. गरीब हो जाएंगे सभी. Poverty rate will be high. Production and other economic activities will come down. Weak country, society will be destroyed. Okay. It is bad for the economy because it will cause huge inflation. Okay. Income of the people is low, economy is high, I think. Okay. लोगों की इनकम कम है बट इकोनॉमी ऊपर चली जाएगी, ऐसे कैसे पॉसिबल है? इट इज अ साइन ऑफ अंडर डेवलप्ड इकोनॉमी. गुड. Varun, let's see. That's again a smart answer. Less income, deflation, demand decreases, expenditure decreases. Okay. No one is ready to invest. Awesome. ये हो गया पार्ट वन. यू ऑल आर राइट. ठीक है, वेरी गुड, यू ऑल आर राइट. बट किसी ने ये नहीं बोला कि बाहर से कोई कंपनी इंडिया आना ही नहीं चाहिए. देयर विल बी नो फॉरेन कंट्री हु विल बी इंटरेस्टेड टू कम टू इंडिया. राइट. आज की डेट में एवरी कंपनी वांट्स टू गो टू दुबई. Every company wants to go to Singapore. People want to open companies in the Bahamas, in the Caribbean. Tax rate 10%. Tax rate 5%. Tax rate 0%. It's inviting opportunities when the tax rate is low. For a country like India, which is still developing, we're not a developed country. Developed countries like France, developed countries like Canada, developed countries like Spain, okay? इन लोग को क्या चाहिए? इनको नहीं चाहिए सब लोग आके हमारे पास काम करें. दे डोंट वांट पीपल टू कम टू देयर कंट्री एंड create a mess of the economy. They are comfortable. They have everything. They have all the resources, and hence the tax rates are very high. You will never hear somebody saying, "अरे फ्रांस तो बहुत सस्ता है, वहां जाके क्यों नहीं काम करते हो?" कभी सुना है किसी को? नहीं. Have you ever heard somebody saying, "अरे कनाडा तो बहुत सस्ता है, वहां जाके काम कर लेते हैं"? नहीं. People say they are expensive countries. The tax rate is very high. The disposable income in the hands of the people is very low in those countries because they are already developed countries. But countries like India, jahan pe we have to develop a lot, the tax rate should not be very high. Okay? The tax rate should not be very high so that people are excited about making money through opportunities, spending money, the economy grows, consumerism grows, right? मेरे पास पैसे ही नहीं होंगे, मैं why will I dream about buying a Mercedes? I'm just giving an example. मेरे पास पैसे नहीं होंगे, why would I want to buy a house, right? I will already be depressed कि यार मैं खरीद ही नहीं सकता हूँ because 70% तो टैक्स चला जाता है. I don't have money to spend or create assets for myself. I'm not excited about my future in a country which is 70% tax, right? So tax indicator of a power of economy, right? Your question, sir, you were asking power of currency, power of country कैसे आती है? इन सब factors से आती है. ठीक है? Another question for you. Okay, I see a question. Let me answer that first. Special economic zone will still exist for them. That's just, I was just giving you hypothetical example. 70% थोड़ी ना इंडिया में टैक्स. कहाँ टैक्स बढ़ रहा है? इंडिया इज अ प्रोग्रेसिव टैक्स इकोनॉमी। यार ये भी ट्वेल्थ में पढ़ा हुआ है हमने। ट्वेल्थ क्लास की एनसीईआरटी है, रिमेंबर इंडिया इज अ प्रोग्रेसिव टैक्स, देयर वाज अ बॉक्स, आई डोंट नो यू रिमेंबर एनसीईआरटी और नॉट। एनसीईआरटी में देयर वाज अ बॉक्स व्हिच आई क्लियरली रिमेंबर व्हिच टॉक्ड अबाउट इंडिया इज अ प्रोग्रेसिव टैक्सेशन इकोनॉमी, व्हिच मींस जैसे जैसे इनकम बढ़ेगी वैसे वैसे टैक्स बढ़ेगा। इफ यू मेक 7 लाख अप टू 7 लाख रुपीज, जीरो टैक्स। 7 to 10, 5%। 10 to 15, 10%। 15 to 20, 20%। above 20, 30%। राइट? सो वी हैव स्लैब्स ऑफ इनकम जिस पे टैक्स लगता है। इट्स अ प्रोग्रेसिव टैक्स इकोनॉमी, मतलब गरीब आदमी को टैक्स नहीं देना पड़ेगा। एज सिंपल एज दैट। नाउ इंटरेस्ट रेट की बात करते हैं। लेट मी आस्क यू अनदर क्वेश्चन। What will happen if the interest rates are very high? Okay, in a country like India, let's say if your interest rate is 20%, good or bad for the economy? 20% interest rate, good or bad for the economy? 20% interest rate, good or bad? Vedai says bad, Aditya says bad. अरे अब why का भी आंसर दो साथ में, not just good or bad. Why is it bad? Give me your thoughts as well. Why do you say bad or why do you say good? Credit creation will decrease. People will be discouraged to take loans. No investment come in India, reduce the flow of money. Savings account ज़्यादा grow होंगे, right? Interest rate high, loan, lower cost of funds. Absolutely. No investment come to India, reduce the flow of money, cost of capital will rise, money supply will reduce. Okay. Why will somebody pay one-fifth more on principal? They will. Why will they not? हो सकता है कई कई कंट्रीज में होता है। They're giving. Okay, bad because small businesses then depends on loan will fall. The good is a normal rate. Okay, Ji. What a statement, Mr. Plato. Mr. Plato, you're saying good is normal rate. Okay. Bad because people will not take loans. Very good. You all are right, but you're missing one important thing. लोन तो महंगे हो जाएंगे, समझ आ गया, but the people who are investing will make 20%. Why are you not thinking about that? I agree. The people who will have to take loans will have to pay 20%. ठीक है जी, मान गए. It will discourage loans. Okay. But you and me, let's say, have 10 lakh rupees. 10 लाख रुपए हैं आपके और मेरे पास. We invest that money. We are getting 20%. Loan दे रहा हूं मैं. I am the one who is giving out loan. I'm getting 20%. Why is that a bad thing? 20% interest rate कमाना, is it a bad thing? Tell me. How is it bad? Why do you people are chasing to make 20% interest rate in India. People are spending hours and hours in the stock market and investments and this and that 20% कमाने के लिए. And I'm saying you're getting 20% on your investment and you say it is bad. लोग लोन नहीं ले पाएंगे, लोग डिस्करेज हो जाएंगे. अरे भाई 20% कमाऊंगा मैं इंटरेस्ट. Why is it bad? बताइए. इन्वेस्टर्स को बेनिफिट होगा, एब्सोल्युटली, वही तो कह रहा हूँ. इफ इन्वेस्टर को बेनिफिट होगा तो देश बढ़ेगा. व्हाई विल इट गो डाउन? व्हाई इज इट बैड देन? अरे बैड फॉर इकोनॉमी, गुड फॉर इन्वेस्टर. इन्वेस्टर भी तो इकोनॉमी में ही है. इन्वेस्टर इज नॉट आउटसाइड द इकोनॉमी. इन्वेस्टर इज पार्ट ऑफ द इकोनॉमी. I will make 20% income. I will pay taxes on that 20% interest rate. Why is a high interest rate bad then? People will refuse to take loans. If everybody has to take loans at 20%, why will they refuse? Option ही नहीं है, लेना ही पड़ेगा. मजबूरी है ना, लेना पड़ेगा. भाई you go to your college, your college says the fees of one semester is 1 lakh rupees. प्राइवेट कॉलेज जाओगे, they will say semester fees is 1 lakh rupees. तो क्या करोगे? देना तो पड़ेगा ना, दोगे. तो यहाँ पे 20% इंटरेस्ट होगा तब भी देंगे. It is good for the economy or bad? Investors are going to make so much money and they're going to pay taxes back to the government. Bad क्यों interest rate भाई? Okay, but people will not be interested in taking loan. मजबूरी है, they will have to take loan. They might not be interested, but they don't have an option, sir. Poor will become more poor, rich will become more rich. ठीक है, that's a good counter saying that the rich and poor divide will increase. ठीक है, that's one good counter. Think थोड़ा दिमाग लगाओ, क्या क्या हो रहा होगा इकोनॉमी में, क्या होगा अगर इंटरेस्ट बढ़ गया तो? सही जा रहे हो, you're going in the right direction, you're thinking. That is what is important. This class is not a parvachan. You have to think. Okay, it's good from an investor's point of view, but in a country like India, there are more borrowers than investors. But if there is 20% rate, there will be more investors than the borrowers, which is good for the economy. ठीक है, let me give you one perspective. Let me give you one perspective. Example लेते हैं, ठीक है? You have 10 lakh rupees. You have 10 lakh rupees. And you know you can make 20% interest. Listen to me very carefully and then revise your answer if you want to. Okay. You have 10 lakh rupees and you can make 20% interest rate on that 10 lakh rupees. Will you buy a Maruti Baleno or will you invest that money? बताओ मुझे. Will you buy a car for 10 lakh rupees or or will you invest that to make 20%? 20% कमाते हो आप अपनी इनकम पे, क्या करोगे? इन्वेस्ट करोगे या गाड़ी खरीदोगे? इन्वेस्ट करोगे. वेरी गुड. इन्वेस्ट करोगे, सारा पैसा इन्वेस्ट कर दोगे. बहुत बढ़िया. वेरी गुड. यही करोगे ना? नाउ माय क्वेश्चन टू यू इज, यू विल, everybody says we will invest except a few who want a Maruti. Now, when the interest rate increases, my friend, you all were absolutely right, but you were missing the concept of consumption. Okay. Economy functions on consumption. पैसे का flow होना चाहिए. Somebody buys, somebody gets that money, they buy something else, they buy something else, buy. Everybody keeps their margin, everybody keeps their profit, and the economy keeps working, economy keeps growing. Now, if everybody says, यार मेरे पास 50 लाख रुपए हैं, why will I buy a house? Why will I go for a trip? Why will I spend money on luxury? मेरे को नहीं जाना होटल रूम में 30,000 रुपए के. I don't want to spend 30,000 rupees on a hotel room. I can make 20% on this income. मैं तो इंटरेस्ट इतना बढ़िया इन्वेस्टमेंट क्यों ना कर दूं मैं? Your mind functions for investment. Your mind functions for investment. Now think about this from US and European countries. यूरोपियन कंट्रीज में, यूएस में इंटरेस्ट रेट है 2%, इंटरेस्ट रेट है 1%, मैक्सिमम इंटरेस्ट रेट होगा 3%. द इंटरेस्ट रेट इन दीज डेवलप्ड इकोनॉमीज इज 1%, 2%, 3%. And that is why these economies are based on consumption. People say, why would I run after 2% interest rate? I will just go and live my life. I will travel the world. I will buy Nike sneakers. I will have Ray-Ban shades. I will drink good beer. I will go for this. I will go to all the concerts. $200 की टिकट है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? वैसे भी मेरे को कुछ कमाना नहीं है इस पैसे पे. Let me just spend and live my life. That is developed economy. इंडिया में because you have an opportunity, your FD rate is eating a lot of money, right? We will not spend on ourselves. We will not spend on our dreams. We try to hoard money. Why? Because we have an opportunity to save money. Those economies do not have an opportunity to save money. The economy is not designed to save money. The economy of the Western countries is designed to spend money. Indian economy is designed to save money. And that is why it's a developing country. It happens in a developing country. You would see when a country starts developing, the interest rate starts to fall. India is going towards that. Earlier, you remember your parents would be earning 12% on a fixed deposit. Today, they earn 6.5, 7%. आधा हो चुका है एफडी का रेट in last 30 years. 30 years के अंदर अंदर the interest rate of fixed deposit is almost half. We are going towards a consumer economy, right? The government, the economy wants us to spend money. तभी तो भाई grow करोगे. तभी तो you will have dreams, you will have consumption, more tax collection, more spend, the higher standard of living, the power of currency. Somebody was asking, right? It's a circular aspect of economy. ऐसे बनती है economy. That is why these macro policy indicators of GDP, inflation, tax rate, interest rate, and exchange rate define how an economy or how powerful or how useful or how developing or how developed a particular economy is. Right? समझ आया? Give me a thumbs up. नहीं आया? Give me a thumbs down. So that I know कितनों को समझ आया, कितनों को नहीं आया. Absolutely. The consumption and investment should be balanced. That is what India is trying to do, my friend. People will consume more, and if people consume more, business grows and more economy expands faster. Simple maths. सही जा रहे हो? Awesome. Majority people saying thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. मेरे को एक thumbs down भी आया है. क्या नहीं समझ, दो आ गए अब. क्या नहीं समझ आया दोस्त? Perfect. जिनको समझ नहीं आया, ask your questions while I go to the next topic. Please put a Q before your question so that I know it's a question. Okay. Here you go with the metrics. How do you understand each of these metrics? Crazy important topic. भाई ये एग्जाम में इतना ज्यादा आएगा, इतनी बारी आएगा that you would be bored कि how does every exam attempt has this question from this table? This table will have a question for sure. Please mark this table in your study materials as well as super duper important. Okay, macro variables and business conduciveness. GDP, if the direction is rising, if the GDP is going up, that means economic optimism, high demand expectations, which means that the economy is growing, the consumption is growing, the country is going upwards. It's good for the economy. GDP should always be rising. GDP should always be rising. Inflation should be moderate. Na bahut kam, na bahut zyada. It should be moderate, which shows that there is opportunity for growth. Inflation should be moderate because it tells that there is opportunity for growth. It should not be very high. It should not be very low either. It should be moderate. Okay. That is what inflation should be, which tells you that there is still opportunity for growth. Okay. Cool. Tax should be lower. Okay. Incentives should be given for investors, right, to create incomes, right? Taxation should be lower. Coverage ज़्यादा होनी चाहिए, tax rate कम होना चाहिए. आप समझते हैं ये concept? Let me tell you this. In India, only 1.5 crore people pay taxes. Out of 150 crore people, only 1.5 crore people pay tax. Only 1% जनता सिर्फ. Only 1% of the country pays taxes, and these taxes are actually generating enough money to keep 150 crore people running their lives. अब सोचो, what happens if all people start paying taxes, even let's say 10 rupees, let's say 500 rupees, let's say 1000 rupees a year. 1000 रुपए भी साल के कोई भरने लग जाए टैक्स, everybody in India right? That also makes sense. Now, the coverage should be more, not the tax rate. Now, the government is not able to increase the coverage. That means not able to capture a lot many people into income tax bracket. So they're charging higher tax from the existing 1.5 crore people, right? So a tax rate should be lower, but the coverage should be high. यार और लोगों से सबसे 10% लो तो आपका equal हो जाएगा ना. Why do you burden those who are making more? It's a Robin Hood economy. It's tough. I'm not saying the government is not doing a great job. I'm just saying handling so much of volume is also very tough. It's easier said than done. But the right way of doing things is increase the capture or increase the pool of taxpayers, but keep the rates lower so that people feel excited about the economy. इंडिया से लोग भाग के क्यों बाहर जा रहे हैं? Why are people, all the students, all everybody around you is flying to Australia, to Canada, to US, to UK? क्यों जा रहे हैं लोग? लोग कह रहे हैं यार जब 40% टैक्स भरना है तो मैं नीदरलैंड्स में भर दूंगा ना. एटलीस्ट आई गेट गुड फैसिलिटीज, एटलीस्ट आई गेट गुड एयर, रोड्स, फैसिलिटीज, एजुकेशन, हेल्थ केयर मिल जाएगा मुझे अच्छी क्वालिटी. यहाँ पे 40% दे के वाई विल आई स्टे इन टूटी हुई रोड्स, यहाँ पे हेल्थ केयर नहीं है. आई विल हैव टू स्पेंड 10-15 लाख रुपीज इन हॉस्पिटल्स फॉर नथिंग, राइट? आपको फ्रैक्चर हो 2 लाख रुपए तो हॉस्पिटल आपका फ्रैक्चर का ले लेता है, 2 दिन आपको रुकना पड़ेगा. एंड ऑल ऑफ दिस, द हेल्थ केयर इज फेलिंग हेयर, राइट? एंड यू स्टिल पेइंग 40% टैक्स. People say it doesn't make sense. I'm not excited about living in India anymore. That is what people feel. How can a government keep people within country is by going lower on the tax but increasing the coverage, right? That will create excitement about the economy, right? Then we have number 4, which is interest rate. It should be lower, right? जो अभी हम बात कर रहे थे. Interest should be lower so that people can get funds easily, plus they consume more and do not save more. Saving is the worst thing that can happen to an economy. Uh, It might be very good at a personal level. It might be fantastic at a personal level if you save a lot of money. But for the economy, you are doing the worst by saving a lot of money because you're not getting into the cycle of generating opportunities for businesses or your own business for that matter, right? Let's say you have a business and people do not come to your shop or your business for your services or goods. जैसे कि यार पैसे बचा लेते, इसका सामान क्यों खरीदूं मैं? You'll be like, यार मेरा सामान खरीदो, please buy my stuff. Then only my business will work. But people say, no, I want to save money. Why will I spend on your products? I will save my money. Doesn't work, right? Your business will flop. That is what we also do with a lot of businesses, right? Which is good at a personal finance level. But when you look at an economy level, it's very bad for the economy. Okay. At least for developing countries. At least for developing countries. Because if your country has to grow, you have to spend money. Not on luxury, but at least good quality products. Then we have exchange rate. Exchange rate should be moderate, right? Exchange rate should be moderate. ना बहुत कम, ना बहुत ज्यादा. बहुत ज्यादा कम होगा, the foreign countries will not be excited about your economy. You want to keep people excited about your country. You want people to be excited about your economy. Why will that happen? When you are not super rich, when you're not super poor, when you're somewhere in the middle, right? Now a dollar at 82, 83 rupees is very high, right? It's not good for us. But if dollar would have been somewhere around 50, 60 rupees, we will be in a good position. Plus the European and US countries will be excited about India that we can come to India and 50x our money instantly. Think about this. As an American investor, if I have $1 lakh, मैं इंडिया आऊंगा 50 लाख रुपए हो जाएंगे अगर 50 रुपीज का डॉलर है. आज की डेट में इफ आई $1 lakh, आई कम टू इंडिया, आई हैव 80 लाख रुपीज, जो कि एवरेज इंडियन की सेविंग से 20 टाइम्स है, राइट? इट इज 20 टाइम्स मोर देन द एवरेज इंडियन सेविंग, दैट इज $1 lakh. सिंपल, राइट? 80x हो गया ना पैसा. 1 लाख रुपए 80 लाख रुपए बन गए इंडिया आते. And I can live next 30 years in India in 80 lakh rupees. I will come here as an American investor. Now think about this. American investor has $1 lakh, comes to India, has 80 lakh rupees. 80 lakh rupees का fixed deposit करा दिया. Gets 8%. 80 lakhs का 8%, 6.4 lakh rupees, right? I'm getting 6.5 lakh rupees every year, which is equal to 50,000 rupees per month. ठीक है जी, 50,000 rupees पर मंथ आ रहे हैं. आई कैन रिटायर हेयर. 50,000 रुपये महीना आ रहे, खाओ पियो ऐश करो. 20,000 का रेंट भरो, खाओ पियो ऐश करो, मजे करो. $1 लाख में, राइट? This is how economy becomes exciting for foreign countries when the exchange rate is high. But for you, it's very bad. So exchange rate should also be moderate. एकदम कम नहीं होना चाहिए. Then people are not excited about you. People are, ये तो यार equally rich country है, इसमें क्या invest करूं? Why should I go to this country? It's very costly. It's very expensive. Like you and me do not want to go and settle in France because it's very expensive. You might want to go and visit France for a vacation, but वहां पे रहना is not easy. इट्स एक्सपेंसिव टू अनदर लेवल. वाटर बॉटल भाई, 5 यूरो की वाटर बॉटल, 500 रुपए का एक बिस्लेरी की 300 ml की बॉटल है वहां, राइट? इट्स वेरी एक्सपेंसिव. सो एक्सचेंज रेट शुड बी मॉडरेट. दैट इज हाउ यू अंडरस्टैंड एन इकोनॉमिक. इट्स मैक्रो पॉलिसी इंडिकेटर्स. ठीक है जी. Cool. I want you to spend good 15-20 minutes on this topic, which I've done, because maximum questions are going to come from this. And I hope it's clear now. Okay, let me just look at some questions and then we go to the next one, which is formulation and impact transmission. छोटा सा टॉपिक है, कितना 5 minutes में कर लेंगे ये हम. बट लेट मी जस्ट सॉल्व सम क्वेश्चंस दैट यू गाइस हैव. ओके, आशा, वेयर इज योर क्वेश्चन? किधर है आपका क्वेश्चन? मेरे को क्वेश्चन ही नहीं दिखा. आपने क्यों लिखा है क्वेश्चन से पहले? आशा, प्लीज क्यों लिख के आस्क योर क्वेश्चन सो दैट आई कैन आंसर. Exchange rate, I just explained, Vidisha. Exchange rate, I was just explaining that right now. Some stage consumption start falling, then who person consume more of the flow? But after some stage consumption will start falling, then which people will consume more of the flow of economy? ये क्या इंग्लिश लिखी है गौतम? मेरे ये जंबल सेंटेंस मेरे को ठीक करने भेजा है. फर्स्ट पार्ट क्लियर है, उसके बाद क्या लिख रहे हो? देन हु पर्सन कंज्यूम मोर ऑफ द फ्लो ऑफ मनी. ये क्या है? For a business, inflation as an indicator of policy shall be most detrimental if, okay, आपने क्वेश्चन ही पूछ लिया. For a business, inflation as an indicator shall be most detrimental if it is extremely low, it is extremely high, it is moderate, and it is rising. ये देखो क्या लिखा हुआ है इन्फ्लेशन के बारे में. It should be moderate, but it is most detrimental, right? When it is extremely low. Rising inflation business के लिए अच्छा है क्योंकि आप सामान महंगा बेच सकते हो, right? इन्फ्लेशन इज गुड फॉर बिजनेस, नॉट फॉर इकोनॉमी. क्योंकि आपका सामान महंगा हो गया, इन्फ्लेशन हो गई, राइट? बट इफ इट इज वेरी लो, दैट मीन्स यू विल नेवर ग्रो. योर बिजनेस हैज नो अपॉर्चुनिटी टू ग्रो. दैट इज वॉट हैपेंस व्हेन द इन्फ्लेशन इज वेरी लो. इंसेंटिव का क्या मतलब होता है वैदेही? इंसेंटिव, सिंपल इंग्लिश वर्ड. अगर आप मेरा प्रोजेक्ट कर दोगे तो मैं आपके पैर दबा दूंगा. इंसेंटिव है ये. Is this indicator applied to all countries or only India? This is specific for all countries, sir. हर कंट्री के लिए अच्छा है, बट डिपेंड्स ऑन द स्ट्रैटेजी ऑफ द कंट्री एज वेल. अब चाइना को आप जाके ये समझाओगे, चाइना का ये सब हटाओ, गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल्स एवरीथिंग. द गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल्स एवरीथिंग. दे से आई कैन मैनेज एवरीथिंग. Lower, moderate, rising, I can manage everything because I am the doer of all the things, right? So it's more of a mixed economy. This is more from a mixed economy perspective that we are reading right now. Every country which is in a mixed economy setup, उसके लिए ये valid होगा. See, South Korea is a peculiar economy. Even if the currency is less, but it's very expensive to live in South Korea, right? It's a very peculiar economic study. If you go and study about it, it's very interesting, right? South Korea बहुत जबरदस्त economy study है. You're absolutely right. The currency is less, but then it's very expensive. पढ़ो इसके बारे में. It's very interesting. अच्छा, गौतम कह रहे हाउ नहीं हु. अब मैं वापस क्वेश्चन पढ़ने जाऊं? गौतम गज्जा है भाई. After some stage, consumption start falling. Then how people will consume more for the flow of economy? See, consumption never stops. People will find ways to do consumption. Jeff Bezos has money which is uncountable. So he goes and buys a $300 million yacht. प्लेन खरीद लिया 200 मिलियन का. अंबानी जी के पास इतना पैसा, घर बना दिया भाई, $1 बिलियन का अंटिलिया बना दिया. ठीक है. सो कंजम्पशन की कोई लिमिट नहीं है दोस्त. राइट. There is never going to be a way where people start consuming less. People will start consuming less when the inflation rises, like tomatoes. जब प्राइस 200 रुपए हो गया, पीपल सेड भाई अब टमाटर नहीं खाने हमको 2-3 हफ्ते. वी नॉट गोना ईट टोमेटोज फॉर द नेक्स्ट 2-3 वीक्स. राइट. तब गिरती है कंजम्पशन. इफ द इन्फ्लेशन इज मॉडरेट एंड योर इनकम्स आर इंक्रीजिंग, you're consuming more, consumption never stops. People will find ways to consume. ज्योति, क्योंकि हमें गूगल नहीं डालना था, वैसे ही चैप्टर बहुत लंबा हो रहा था, चैप्टर 3, इसलिए हमने गूगल नहीं डाला. लोग तो लड़ रहे हैं गूगल के लिए कि गूगल क्यों नहीं डाला. अरे okay, what happens if a weak and strong exchange? I'll just take two more questions and then we go to the next topic. We want to complete the chapter today, most of it. Okay. Okay, what happens if weak and strong exchange for investors? Depends again. Exchange weak hai, it's good for foreign investors, not for Indian investors. If the exchange rate is very strong, it is good for local investors, not for foreign investors. Always subjective rahega. In Dubai, interest rate is high. I think so. It's very low as of now, but it's rising because there's a lot of demand now. What if India applies social? They cannot. India cannot apply a socialist economy right now. Cool. Let's talk about policy formulation, impact transmission. Policy formulate कैसे होती है? How does a government create a policy? Okay, what is the process? What is the process? Question frequently asked in the exam is this. Policy formulation is always development oriented. The government is never going to make a policy which is not for the development. It's always going to be development oriented, either of a particular sector, either of the country, either of somebody, whatever it is, right? It's always going to be development oriented. Policy formulation is always development oriented. Okay. Policy context, policy content, institutions, instruments, market participants. Now, this is the process. This is the process of creating a policy. Policy context. Pehle to the government has to understand what kind of a policy do we want to create? What kind of a problem are we solving? Okay. Policy context means what kind of problem are we solving? That is policy context. Context क्या है? Problem की जड़ क्या है? Right? What kind of problem is the economy facing? And what is the solution to this problem is a policy content. Policy context, sorry. Right? Policy content is the policy itself. For example, ban on laptops is a policy content. Let's take this example of putting a ban on foreign laptops. Okay. Policy context is we want to be self-sufficient. We want to do make in India. We want to promote local manufacturing. We want to promote local manufactured products. We don't want to be dependent on China or US or Indonesia or Philippines. जहां पे ये लैपटॉप्स बन रहे हैं, ताइवान में बन रहे हैं, हमको डिपेंडेंसी नहीं चाहिए. We are 150 crore people. We want laptops, but we want all these laptops to be manufactured in our country. Okay. Make in India. That's a policy context. The policy context content is ban kar do foreign laptops ko. Now, if a foreign company wants to sell laptops in India, they will have to open a manufacturing unit in India. प्लीज वेलकम, आइए हमारे देश में फैक्ट्री खोलिए और हमें ही लैपटॉप बेचिए, सो दैट द मनी स्टेज विद इन द कंट्री. सो दैट द मनी स्टेज विद इन द कंट्री. ऐसा नहीं है बाहर पैसा जा रहा है देश से, राइट? दैट इज पॉलिसी कंटेंट, पुटिंग अ बैन ऑन लैपटॉप्स. Then comes institutions, right? Now institutions like big pressure groups of global industry communities, or FICCI, or you have big institutions which are actually like, even ICAI is an institution. सरकार पॉलिसी का कंटेंट बना के इट सेंड्स टू इंस्टीट्यूशंस लाइक आरबीआई, लाइक इन्वेस्टमेंट बोर्ड्स, लाइक बिग बैंकिंग एडवाइजर्स, अपना टू इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर्स, जाके ये पॉलिसी का कंटेंट भेजती है. दिस इज व्हाट वी आर थिंकिंग वी आर गोइंग टू डू. नाउ दीज इंस्टीट्यूशंस give them advice, tells them whether it is right or wrong, how can you do this, how to implement this, right? That is the work of institutions. They take advice from institutions. Then institution से advice आ जाती है कि ठीक है, आप सही कर रहे हो, आप करिए, this is good for the economy, go for it. Then they use instruments. To apply this policy content. Instruments are like interest rate, custom duty, bank rate, right? All these are instruments. Now government ने laptop ban के लिए क्या किया? They said, okay, if you want to import a lot of laptops in India from outside, Taiwan से laptop आ रहे, ठीक है, but 200% custom duty. So if the laptop which was earlier for 60,000 rupees, now it will be for 1,80,000 rupees. Policy content, tax rate, interest rate, custom duty, all of this. GST instrument है, right? GST on gaming industry instrument है, GST rate, right? And then finally they take response from the market participants, which are actual people who are affected by this instrument or policy. So once they apply this policy, they go to these companies. They went to HP, Lenovo. They say, see, this is what we are doing, right? What is your take? How much is this going to impact you? And you give them solutions as well to market participants. Okay, I know this is going to disrupt your business, but if you open your manufacturing plant somewhere in Chennai, if you open your manufacturing plant somewhere near Lucknow, if you want to open your manufacturing somewhere in West Bengal, somewhere in Gujarat, I will give you 50% tax benefit for the next 10 years. But open in India, but manufacture in India. This is what market participants के साथ जाके government does a dialogue, does a conversation. So the entire process is policy context, policy content, institutions, instruments, and then market participation, right? This is policy formulation process. Basic है, common sense है. Cool. Sakharam, I'm not going to answer that question. It's a chapter 5 question. Please be patient and do not disturb the class with questions which are not part of the chapter, okay? It's very disturbing and it's not nice. You guys are very mature. You should know what to ask when. Right? It's a question from chapter 5. तो तभी पढ़ेंगे ना दोस्त. मैं आपसे अभी पूछ लूं सीए फाइनल का क्वेश्चन दे पाएगा दोस्त? पूछूं सीए फाइनल के क्वेश्चंस अभी नहीं दे पाएगा ना दोस्त? So how will you answer the question of chapter 5 abhi? Okay, market participants normally mean who wants to start the business. Not necessarily. People who are existingly doing the business are also market participants. No problem, sir. I will always answer your questions, but institutions are big pressure groups like industrial communities, राइट? लाइक फिक्की होता है, या आपका नेस्कॉम होता है, आपका आईसीएआई हो गया, आपका आरबीआई हो गया, सेबी हो गया. दीज आर इंस्टीट्यूशंस लाइक बिग बैंक्स, इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंक्स, इनसे जाके दे टेक एडवाइस. दीज आर इंस्टीट्यूशंस, राइट? कैलिब्रेशन का मतलब क्या होता है? कैलिब्रेशन ऑलवेज मीन्स अलाइनिंग थिंग्स टुगेदर. सबसे मिल बांट के अलाइन कर लेते हैं ताकि कुछ गड़बड़ ना हो. दैट्स कॉल्ड कैलिब्रेशन. चंचल, मार्केट पार्टिसिपेंट वो लोग हैं जो इस पॉलिसी से इंपैक्ट होंगे, वो है मार्केट पार्टिसिपेंट. आपके घर में आपके पेरेंट्स ने एक पॉलिसी बनाई कि 8 बजे से पहले घर वापस आना है. आप मार्केट पार्टिसिपेंट हो उस पॉलिसी के, क्योंकि आप इम्पैक्ट होने वाले, आपको 8 बजे से पहले घर आना है, राइट? तो आप मार्केट पार्टिसिपेंट हो, ठीक है? टू एक्सप्लेन दैट वेरी सिंपली इन 30 सेकेंड्स, पॉलिसी कॉन्टेक्स्ट क्या है? योर पेरेंट्स फील कि यार माई किड शुड बी सेफ। पॉलिसी कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, मुझे सेफ्टी चाहिए अपने बच्चे की। पॉलिसी कॉन्टेक्स्ट आ गया। पॉलिसी कंटेंट क्या है? दैट आई क्रिएट रेस्ट्रिक्शंस ऑन देयर मूवमेंट, राइट? कहाँ जा रहे हैं, किससे मिल रहे हैं, कितने बजे मिल रहे हैं, ये पॉलिसी कंटेंट है। Then they go to institution. They go to your elder brother, sister. They talk to their friends. They talk to their elders or their brothers and sisters. अपने में कि यार आप लोग क्या करते हो अपने बच्चों को कंट्रोल करने के लिए, राइट? आप कैसे संभालते हो अपने बच्चों को? ये हो गए इंस्टीट्यूशंस, राइट? टॉकिंग टू देयर फ्रेंड्स और योर एल्डर ब्रदर सिस्टर, अपने भाई बहनों चाचा चाची से पूछ रहे हैं आपके, ये हो गया इंस्टीट्यूशन। इंस्ट्रूमेंट क्या है? इंस्ट्रूमेंट है 8 बजे से पहले आप घर होने चाहिए। दैट इज देयर इंस्ट्रूमेंट। अ रिस्ट्रिक्शन ऑन टाइम, अ टाइम बाउंडेशन, 8 बजे से पहले घर आ जाना, दैट इज एन इंस्ट्रूमेंट। एंड मार्केट पार्टिसिपेंट कौन है? आप। वो आपको पूछेंगे अब आप 8 बजे से पहले आपको घर रहना है, यू विल से नहीं नहीं मैं नहीं आ सकता, मेरी तो क्लास है, मेरी तो क्लास ही 8 से 9 होती है, मैं 8 बजे से पहले घर कैसे आऊं, राइट? देन से चलो ठीक है, हम चेंज कर देते हैं, आपका 9 बजे का लिमिट है, 9 बजे तो आपको घर रहना ही, इसके बाद आप घर के बाहर नहीं जा सकते। दिस इज पॉलिसी फॉर्मुलेशन दोस्त। दैट इज व्हाट द गवर्नमेंट इज ऑल्सो डूइंग। कूल। आई थिंक इस एग्जाम्पल से तो समझ आ गया आपको पांचों स्टेप्स। लेट्स गो टू द नेक्स्ट वन, विच इज अ क्वेश्चन फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू। ऑन योर स्क्रीन्स, ये रहा आपके कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन पर, bank rates being adjusted to increase or decrease credit supply in economy can be termed as what? बताइए। Absolutely, Mariam. Market participants mean those whom the policy is being restricted or opportunity created, दोनों के लिए। It's not just restriction। हमने एग्जाम्पल लिया अभी रिस्ट्रिक्शन का, कोई अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी भी हो सकती है। इट कैन बी अ गुड पॉलिसी ऑल्सो, वो भी पढ़ेंगे अभी आगे। ओके, अ लॉट ऑफ कंफ्यूजन बिटवीन सी एंड डी। 90% जनता सेइंग डी, ऑप्शन डी विच इज पॉलिसी इंस्ट्रूमेंट। कई लोग बोल रहे हैं ऑप्शन सी विच इज पॉलिसी कंटेंट। द आंसर इज पॉलिसी इंस्ट्रूमेंट। बैंक रेट तो इंस्ट्रूमेंट है ना दोस्त। दे आर changing the policy by adjusting tax, by adjusting bank rate. Bank rate is a policy instrument, my friend. Bank rate is an instrument, content थोड़ी ना, content नहीं है। बैंक रेट तो इंस्ट्रूमेंट है। Content is changing the credit supply in the economy, is content of the policy. The government wants to change the credit supply in economy is the content of the policy, but they are going to use bank rate to do that. It's an instrument to do this. It's an instrument to do this, right? Bank rate is an instrument. Super. To the question we had just now, कि यार restriction जिस पे लग रही है क्या वो market participant है? जी हाँ, but the public policy can be of 4 types. Okay, the public policy can be of 4 types. बैंक को इसमें मार्केट पार्टिसिपेंट कौन रहेगा? पिछले में जिसको बैंक से लोन लेना है वो मार्केट पार्टिसिपेंट है। बिजनेसेस आर मार्केट पार्टिसिपेंट्स, राइट? ओके, 4 types of public policies: protective, restrictive, regulatory and facilitating. ठीक है जी। Sirs and ma'ams, focus on your screens for the next 5 minutes. Four types of public policies. Number one, protective. Number two, restrictive. Number three, regulatory. Number four, facilitating. Protective, बचाना, to protect. कस्टम ड्यूटीज बढ़ा दी लैपटॉप पे, लग्जरी कार्स पे 200% कस्टम ड्यूटी। प्रोटेक्टिव पॉलिसी है दोस्त। द गवर्नमेंट इज ट्राइंग टू प्रोटेक्ट द लोकल बिजनेसेस। द गवर्नमेंट इज ट्राइंग टू प्रोटेक्ट इंडियन बिजनेसेस फ्रॉम फॉरेन कंपटीशन। इट्स अ प्रोटेक्टिव पॉलिसी। नंबर टू, रेस्ट्रिक्टिव। अल्कोहल बैन। गुजरात में अल्कोहल इज बैन, बिहार में अल्कोहल इज बैन, पूरे इंडिया में चाइल्ड लेबर इज नॉट अलाउड, इट्स पनिशेबल ऑफेंस। चाइल्ड लेबर इज अ पनिशेबल ऑफेंस। इट्स अ रेस्ट्रिक्टिव पॉलिसी। यू आर स्टॉपिंग देम, यू आर स्टॉपिंग देम फ्रॉम डूइंग एनीथिंग। Alcohol ban, child labor abolition, it's a restrictive policy. You're stopping them. Regulatory policy, to keep a check, like SEBI keeps a check on the stock market, IRDAI keeps a check on the insurance industry, RERA keeps a check on the regulate on the real estate, right? Builders पे, big builder projects पे check रखने के लिए रेगुलेटरी पॉलिसीज होती है कि अपने डॉक्यूमेंट सबमिट करो, अपनी एनुअल रिपोर्ट सबमिट करो, गिव अस द डिटेल्स ऑफ योर डेट्स, गिव अस द डिटेल्स ऑफ योर इन्वेस्टर्स। रेगुलेटरी है, राइट? ऑन अ सिगरेट का पैकेट 80% ऑफ द पैकेट शुड हैव अ फोटो ऑफ अ कैंसर पेशेंट. It should be written it is cancerous to your health, it causes death, it is injurious to health. पैकेट पे इतना बड़ा 80% ऑफ द पैकेट इज फिल्ड विद दैट कैंसर ट्यूमर होता है। रेगुलेटरी पॉलिसी है दोस्त, टू कीप अ चेक। दे आर नॉट स्टॉपिंग बट दे चेकिंग। प्लीज, हम आगाह कर रहे हैं जनता को कि मत करो, राइट? दैट इज टू रेगुलेटरी पॉलिसी. Number four, facilitating. It helps to grow like an MSME loan booster, Make in India, Startup India, national skill development, education policies, scholarships for students for space research, scholarship for students who want to do research in education, in stem cell, in digital marketing, in AI, in ML, giving these scholarships, MSME loan boosters, subsidy loan देना, नेशनल स्किल डेवलपमेंट करना, राशन कार्ड, राशन शॉप्स, फैसिलिटेटिंग हेल्पिंग पॉलिसीज हैं दोस्त, ठीक है? तो your policy from the government, your public policy can be of four types. It can be protective, it can be restrictive, it can be regulatory, or it can be facilitating. ठीक है जी? तो या तो प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे, या तो स्टॉप करेंगे, या तो चेक करेंगे, या तो हेल्प करेंगे. फोर तरीके की पॉलिसीज हो सकती हैं. And within that, the government plays its role in a mixed economy. It's a mixed economy. तभी तो ये सब काम कर रहे हैं ना, वो चेक कर रहे हैं, स्टॉप कर रहे हैं, प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, हेल्प कर रहे हैं. ये कम्युनिस्ट होती अगर, अरे सब भाड़ में जाए, मैं डिसाइड करूंगा क्या करना है, कोई चेक स्टॉप वॉप नहीं. इट इधर यस और नो, सिंपल. नो हेल्प, नो चेक, नो स्टॉप, नो प्रोटेक्ट. आई विल डिसाइड एवरीथिंग. यस और नो, कर सकते हो, नहीं कर सकते हो, यस. But because it's a mixed economy, our government creates so many things within the policies. ठीक है? Cool. Can regulatory and facilitating policy be same? Absolutely yes. What is protective can also be facilitating. You're absolutely right. What is protective can also be facilitating. Perfect. Questions on your screen. There is a question on your screen, friends. Please look at the question very carefully and answer. Look at the question carefully and answer. Startup India is an initiative under which of the following would it fall? Okay, I see answers B, I see answers C. रेगुलेटरी कौन दे रहा है दोस्त? ये रेगुलेटरी कौन जनता है? Okay, cool. The correct answer is facilitating. Startup India, it's facilitating businesses. It's helping businesses, right? That is how they're doing this. They're helping a lot of businesses to function. They're helping a lot of businesses. They're supporting them to grow. They're supporting startups कि आओ भाई काम करो. आओ मिलके काम करें. Okay. Another question on your screen. Go for it. Answer this as well. B, 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 policy reforms, policy reform, da, da, da. What could be used for revising already? Majority Janta says reforms. The correct answer is reforms. Okay. When we have to revise the policy, existing policy को जब revise करते हैं दोस्त, तो उसको बोलते हैं policy reform. उसको बोलते हैं policy reform. Reformulation. पॉलिसी फॉर्म्यूलेशन फिर से रिवाइज कर रहे हैं रीफॉर्म्यूलेशन तो रीफॉर्म्यूलेशन का शॉर्ट फॉर्म बिकम्स रिफॉर्म्स पॉलिसी रिफॉर्म्स ओके जी वेरी गुड इंडिया में हुए द इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स ऑफ 1992 इंडिया में 1992 में इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स हुए वी रीफॉर्म्युलेटेड आवर पॉलिसीज ठीक है जी the LPG policy, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Liberalization, privatization, globalization. Let's understand each of these. This is first, liberalization. India free कर दी गई. India was a socialist closed economy. We wanted to become a mixed global economy. Why was it? ऐसा क्यों हुआ? Why was this needed in the first place? Okay, number one, our social security was good, but our development was very slow. Our social security of the country was good, but we were not developing. The other countries were going very fast. We were getting behind. Number two, fall of the Warsaw Pact between Soviet and its allies, right? Russia and Poland. Russia opened its economies. Multiple states split into to fight resources in Asia. Soviet Union जो था आपका, right? The Soviet Union headed by Russia and the Soviet, right? The Poland and Russia broke off. The countries north to us, like Russia, Poland, and all these countries, you see Ukraine and everyone, right? They broke off into separate countries and they started competing within Asia. तो इंडिया सोची यार मेरे आसपास देयर इज सो मच कंपटीशन मैं क्यों अपने घोड़ा गाड़ी पे चलता जा रहा हूँ व्हाई एम आई स्टिल एन एग्रीकल्चर बेस्ड इकोनॉमी खेती करो मिट्टी में सो अपना मंजी लगा के सो व्हाई आर वी सो लेड बैक as an economy we also need to grow we need technology we need space exploration we need industries we need manufacturing we need people to be rich right the countries around us were becoming very competitive and we were losing that race then became formation of European Union while this was happening in 1990s Europe में all these 11, 12 countries came together to form a European Union, right? वो एक यूनियन बन गए आपस में, and they became very strong. Now India thought, yeah, I need to be friends with this, right? They're developed countries. If I become friends with these countries who are now becoming a union together, a group, I will be very good, as like I will get benefits from that, right? I will get to learn so much from them. And then we also had huge loans from International Monetary Fund, IMF, International Monetary Fund, World Bank, right? Agriculture Development Board. इन सब से हमने बहुत ज्यादा लोन लिया हुआ था. We were in a very bad position from a loan debt perspective. We wanted something that could change our economy, which could actually bring us back to speed, right? See, it was 1991 and 1992. So generally, आप देखोगे, it started in 1991, it got completed in 1992. So in the books, you will see a lot of times that it is 1991. So 1991, 1992 दोनों ठीक है. You go by the book, okay? ऐसा कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं आएगा इस पे कौन से ईयर के हैं, बट यू स्टे विद द बुक. बट आई जस्ट वांट टू गिव द कॉन्सेप्ट. इट वाज नॉट जस्ट कि एक दिन में हो गया. इट वाज अ थॉट प्रोसेस ओवर 6-8 months. तो 1991 से 1992 तक चला था, ठीक है? बट गो बाय द बुक. इट्स 1991 इन द बुक. गो बाय द बुक. बट यू शुड नो ये ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम हुआ था, ओके? नाउ we as a country, we as government, our government wanted to push India towards liberal, private and global economy, right? India had to open up to survive as an economy. We were in a bad trap of debt. हमारी economy fail हो रही थी. We were socially secure in terms of as a culture, as a society, but अपने पास पैसे नहीं थे दोस्त. अपने पास पैसे नहीं थे. And we wanted money to survive. So what we did was we did liberalization, privatization and globalization, which is LPG policy. Okay? होता क्या है? किया क्या हमने? Number one, liberalization. That means जितने भी controls थे, tariffs, import tariffs, deregulation of markets, reducing taxes, जितना भी control government ने as a social economy, as a socialist government रखा हुआ था, they started being like very open parents, right? जाओ घूमो, जो करना है करो, business करो, fly करो, कोई restriction नहीं है, go do businesses. They started opening up the economy, right? There were no restrictions. ये import नहीं करना, वो export नहीं करना, नहीं नहीं ये नहीं 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 वो नहीं. They were like, we are open to thoughts. We are open as an economy. We are not going to have any restrictions. People want to do business. Whatever business they want to do, they're open to do whatever business they do. Let people make money. Let the country make money. That is liberalization. Then came privatization. That means privatization means the government does not want to do the business. They want private governments to do the business, right? That is how they want partnership with the private. They say, यार मैं ही क्यों पूरा देश संभालूं? There's so many good people with so many sharp minds in the country. People are so business oriented. People are so good in business. Let them do the business, right? Let them do the business. With privatization, there was called 4 Ds of privatization: delegation, divestment, displacement, and disinvestment. The privatization policy के 4 Ds थे. Number one, delegation, which means the government still owns that particular project, that particular work, that particular sector, that particular industry, but it gives out contracts. Contractual basis पे काम करवाती है. आज की डेट में if you look at this, the metro is owned by the government. The roads, the flyovers are owned by the government. The government has the responsibility of making highways. The government has the responsibility of building roads. The government has the responsibility of making footpaths. The government has the responsibility of creating greenery around your city. Absolutely yes. But the government does not do that themselves. They give out contracts to private contractors, right? Contractors like you and me. We go and fill up tenders that I want to build this 10 kilometers of road patch from Gandhinagar to X Nagar, from big market to small market, from X Nagar to Xpur, right? मैं बनाऊंगा, मैं रोड बनाऊंगा, मैं फ्लाईओवर बनाऊंगा। आई एम एन इंजीनियर, आई हैव एन इंजीनियरिंग कंपनी, आई हैव अ कंस्ट्रक्शन बिजनेस लाइक L&T, लाइक टाटा प्रोजेक्ट, चैप्टर 2 में पढ़ा था दोस्त। इट इज कॉल्ड डेलीगेशन. The dam being created by L&T, the big Bhakranangal dams and Tehri dams and Kolar dams and whatnot, these big projects created by L&T, Tata Projects, Adani, Ambani, but owned by the government. Dam Reliance का नहीं है, dam L&T का नहीं है, it is still owned by the government, but government delegates it to the private people कि आप बनाइए मेरे लिए, I will pay you. तो इकोनॉमी चलती है, क्वालिटी आती है, प्राइवेट बिजनेस आता है, राइट? दिस इज कॉल्ड डेलीगेशन. वन फॉर्म ऑफ प्राइवेटाइजेशन इज डेलीगेशन. द सेकेंड फॉर्म ऑफ प्राइवेटाइजेशन इज डाइवेस्टमेंट. छोटे छोटे पीसेज ऑफ योर बिजनेस यू स्टार्ट सेलिंग टू प्राइवेट पीपल. Partial sale of ownership and responsibility, slowly selling of major stake to private investors, like LIC में हो रहा है, राइट? LIC में क्या हो रहा है? पहले 5% of LIC is being sold to private people like you and me. We can buy shares in the market. That means it is privately owned, right? It is not a public sector owned. It is privately owned. Partial divestment, so that people feel they are part of nation building, so that people become part of country building. इसको बोलते हैं divestment. Slowly, steadily selling of parts of government businesses to private businesses. जैसे रेलवे में हो रहा है, द गवर्नमेंट स्टिल हैज मेजर पोर्शन, बट लाइक 10 ट्रेन्स आर डन बाय अदानी, 5 ट्रेन्स ऑफ रिलायंस, 5 ट्रेन्स ऑफ टाटा. ये लोग अपनी ट्रेन्स, अपने रेल ट्रैक्स बना रहे हैं, बट majority is still with the government. Slowly, steadily selling of railways to private businesses. Number 3, displacement. Displacement means we will open the economy, we will open the industry for private players to compete with the government. We will compete with the private players, right? But we will not fight them. Like MTNL, BSNL. MTNL ने कभी जियो और एयरटेल को आने से मना नहीं किया, बट उन्होंने फाइट नहीं किया. दे विल लेट स्लोली स्टेडीली, वी विल डाई, वी विल एग्जिट द बिजनेस एंड लेट प्राइवेट पीपल टेक ओवर. बट इफ समबडी, एमटीएनएल बीएसएल आज भी काफी विलेजेस में एमटीएनएल चलता है, आज भी बीएसएनएल वीएसएनएल चलता है, राइट? स्टिल दे आर ऑपरेशनल. इट्स नॉट लाइक दे आर नॉट देयर, दे स्टिल देयर. गरुड़, you would have seen Garud network in a lot of small towns and villages. They still have MTNL, BSNL, VSNL, right? But they are not fighting of Airtel and Jio कि अरे नहीं नहीं इस गांव में तो जियो नहीं आना चाहिए. नहीं, they're saying आएगा जियो, जिसको जो पसंद है ले लो, but we are not going to expand. They are not going, their MTNL, BSNL is not expanding the internet lines or 5G SIM ले आते हैं हम. They're not doing that. Slowly, steadily, they will be out of business. This is called displacement. They're getting displaced by private companies. Number 4, disinvestment. Number 4 is disinvestment, which means selling off the ownership to private investors. Divestment था छोटे छोटे pieces में, in small pieces you sell off. That is divestment. Disinvestment is major stake और 50-60% सीधा बेच दिया, 70% उठाया बेच दिया to private people. That is called disinvestment. That is called disinvestment. Okay. 4 Ds of privatization. Tariffs means taxes. That is right. Tariff means taxes. Absolutely right. These are the 4 Ds of privatization. The 4 Ds of privatization: delegation, divestment, displacement, disinvestment. Okay. The third one is globalization. Globalization के दो parts हैं. Inward foreign direct investment, outward foreign direct investment. ठीक है. Globalization means the companies outside India are welcome to India. In companies in India are open to go and explore the world. They can go and open businesses in other countries as well. We are not going to stop them. That is called globalization. Inward foreign direct investment. In chapter number 3, we were talking about American Express coming to India, Amazon coming to India, Microsoft coming to India, Goldman Sachs coming to India. क्या है वो? Inward foreign direct investment है मेरे भाई. Right? The flow of investment from other countries in companies and organizations of India. percentage allowed is not uniform in all sectors. For example, some sectors are kept out of FDI, like the companies from foreign cannot come and invest or open businesses which are atomic energy, lottery business, gambling का business, निधि companies, agriculture का काम नहीं कर सकते हैं यहाँ पे, right? Because these are very secure and socially बहुत ही country centric होता है, defense related होता है ये सब, right? अगर कोई country आपके agriculture में है तो then you will become dependent on some other country for agriculture, right? So you don't want to be dependent in these industries on a foreign company or foreign country, because these are very secure or very like complex businesses जो आपकी country को safe रखती है from foreign people, right? जैसे atomic energy है, lottery है, gambling है, agriculture है. These are foreign investors or companies cannot come and operate here in these industries, right? इसीलिए ये are kept out of IFDI. Then is outward foreign direct investment. अब जैसे आपका Airtel has gone to Mauritius in Africa. PVR is also there in Sri Lanka, right? This is outward foreign direct investment, that Indian businesses are going out and investing and building businesses out of India. What happens with this is they bring a lot of foreign exchange back to India. वो वहां से पैसा कमा के वापस अपने कंट्री ला रहे हैं. जैसे यहाँ की foreign companies are making money and taking this money back to their country, our companies are going out, collecting money and bringing that money back to India, right? So IFDI and OFDI, there are two ways of globalization. Okay जी. डिस्प्लेसमेंट MTNL, लड़ाई नहीं करेंगे, लीस्ट रेजिस्टेंस दोस्त, लीस्ट रेजिस्टेंस वाला जो हमने होलिस्टिक पढ़ा था, दैट इज डिस्प्लेसमेंट. ओके, निधि कंपनी आपने लॉ में पढ़ोगे आप. निधि कंपनीज आर वेरी स्पेसिफाइड कंपनीज एंड स्पेसिफाइड बिजनेसेस एज पर द कंपनीज एक्ट. तो वो निधि कंपनीज डिटेल में नहीं जाएंगे, बट दे आर वेरी स्पेसिफिक बिजनेसेस. ठीक है, दे आर निधि कंपनीज. The last concept of the chapter is FIIs, foreign institutional investors. These are big institutional investors which collate money from a lot of rich people and invest in your country. I was giving you an example, right? कि इंडियन कंपनी को अफ्रीका के प्रोजेक्ट में इन्वेस्ट करवाने में सॉफ्ट बैंक, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, these are all investment banks. These are all huge equity funds, institutional investors हैं ये लोग, right? They collect money from rich people, rich countries, invest in developing countries. So investment banks, they collect money in the US, they create a fund, आओ सब पैसे डालें, वो पैसा उठा के इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, right? वैसे इंडिया के लोगों से दे कलेक्ट मनी एंड दे इन्वेस्ट इन अफ्रीका, इंडोनेशिया, वियतनाम, श्रीलंका, भूटान और नेपाल, राइट? यहाँ पे इन्वेस्टमेंट होती है. These are called foreign institutional investors, a group of huge investors which have andha amount of money. They come and invest in a particular economy and they help in globalization. They are the agents of globalization. Foreign institutional investors are the agents of globalization, right? They are the big companies and institutions which bring money into the company and take money out of the country. तो इन पे बहुत ही जरूरी है इनको वेलकम करना और इन पे कंट्रोल रखना. इट्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, कूल. विच इज बेटर, FDI और FII? दोनों अलग है. FDI FII करता है तो बेटर कैसे होगा? वैसे ही, राइट? यू आर आस्किंग कि मतलब व्हाट इज बेटर, डोमिनोज और पिज्जा? डोमिनोज पिज्जा बनाता है दोस्त. राइट, ओके. IFDI OFDI, फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट के दो तरीके हैं. इट इज इनवर्ड एंड आउटवर्ड. व्हेन foreign countries and companies come to India, it is inward foreign direct investment. When Indian companies go out to other countries, it is outward foreign direct investment. The people who are helping in IFDI and OFDI are FIIs, which is foreign institutional investors. They are the agents, they are the dalals, right? They are the people, intermediaries of creating these transactions, of building these opportunities for people and companies to go out and to bring money into India. They are FIIs. Okay. With that, आपका चैप्टर नंबर 4 भी कंप्लीट हो गया. .1 p.m. इतने टाइम पे हैं हम लोग. वाओ, वेरी गुड. Foreign institutions which charge interest rate, they charge very huge commissions. Those $10 billion, $5 billion, बहुत ज्यादा फीस होती है इनकी. They are not cheap. They are very expensive companies. Great. RTP of VMLR, STNB is not uploaded. It will come. RTP इतनी जल्दी नहीं आती है दोस्त. आएगी, थोड़े टाइम में आएगी. अगस्त में नहीं आती कभी भी RTP. It will come very soon. Market participants are people who are impacted by the policy, right? जिनके लिए पॉलिसी बनाई गई है, those are market participants. People for whom the policy is being created, those are market participants. Okay. I know, great timing. Cool. I'll be here for next 5 minutes. Ask your questions, ask your doubts, right? I'll be happy to answer those. अब पूछो टमाटर का सवाल, अब पूछो आईटी का सवाल, अब पूछो मैं कैसे पढूं, मेरा जिंदगी खराब हो गया है, पढ़ाई नहीं हो रही है, अभी पूछो वो सवाल. And for those who are done, who are clear with the concepts, great. Thanks for joining. Again, next Saturday, probably I might not be able to take, but we will postpone that class. Keep a check on the schedule. We will be here on Sunday for sure. But please do check the schedule. I might take on Saturday, but like 99% I might not be able to. But do check the schedule once, okay? Sunday आपसे मिलेंगे with a revision class of chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. मस्त रिविजन करेंगे. Study material revision we'll do. I will also create a quick quiz for you guys. Interesting questions, tough questions. We'll practice all of that so that you get a sense of the examination and it will be fun. BCK में 100 out of 100, 100% marks लाने हैं हमें. Okay? RTP आ गई, ये लो. आज आ गई आरटीपी. कोई कह रहा आरटीपी आई नहीं, बट आई डोंट नो. अगस्त में हमारे टाइम तो नहीं आती थी आरटीपी. यूज्ड टू बी वेरी लेट. अब तो सब तेज हो गए हैं. सो चंचली सिंह, आरटीपी इज रिलीज्ड. So very good. Go and check if it's released. I have also not checked. I'll check it after the class. बड़ी जल्दी आ गई. अच्छा है फिर तो. BlackRock is a very powerful company. Rishalang, absolutely, you're watching the right information on internet. I was also watching that video, right? Somebody was telling BlackRock itni, it's actually managing the entire US. I was also watching that video. Study schedule, Kaushik, study schedule simple है. चाहे 5 घंटे पढ़ो, बट कंसंट्रेशन से पढ़ो, हो जाएगा. पास होना चाहते हो, आ जाओ, करा देंगे. That this is also a meme for you. How to cover math syllabus? Practice, practice, practice. Maths में तो आपको practice ही करना पड़ेगा. There's no other way. Very good. Vidisha also says RTP has come today. Very good. यार, you guys are living in the best times. Everything is digital. आपको PDF मिल जाती है. हमारे टाइम तो we used to, हमारे टाइम क्या मतलब, I'm not very old, but still we used to go to the institute and buy books in lines, 2 hours of lines. We used to go take a token, then buy the books, and with so many books we used to travel back through metro and bus. मजा आता था. अभी तो सब PDF है दोस्त. You guys have laptops and iPads and tabs. अब मस्त लिखो PDF पे. How to get past year question papers? That's a challenge. You can Google and see where you can find that. DOS website पे नहीं है. I also checked, but you can Google and see if you get those. But source check कर लेना. हाँ वैदे में भिड़े के जमाने, ये तारक मेहता गैंग जिंदाबाद. जीत, हाउ डू यू मैनेज कॉलेज के एग्जाम? देखो अगर क्लैश हो रहे हैं ना, तो कॉलेज के एग्जाम दे देना, बिकॉज कॉलेज वापस नहीं आएगा. सीए तो 6 महीने बाद यू कैन स्टिल गिव एन अटेम्प्ट. इफ यू वांट टू बी अ ग्रेजुएट, विच इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट, just in case, right? सी माई स्ट्रेटेजी इज ग्रेजुएशन तो होनी चाहिए बिकॉज इट हेल्प्स यू स्विच टू एमबीए just in case CA does not work out. Just in case if CA does not work out, graduation के basis पे you can still crack a CAT or something and you can go for an MBA, right? तो ग्रेजुएशन जरूरी है तो अगर कॉलेज का क्लैश हो रहा है एग्जाम सीए के साथ, नॉट समथिंग आई वुड probably advise you, but ठीक है, as somebody who has experienced it, कंप्लीट योर कॉलेज एज वेल इफ इट इज क्लैशिंग. नहीं हो रहा फिर तो मैनेज करो. अगर क्लैश नहीं हो रहा देन मैनेज एंड डू बोथ द थिंग्स. पीपल डू दैट, आई सीन पीपल डूइंग दैट. अनिकेत पूरा इंडिया देखता है दोस्त. यूट्यूब इंडिया ट्रेंडिंग, तारक मेहता का एपिसोड जरूर होता है. आई सीन दैट, सो आई नो इंडिया वॉचेज अ लॉट ऑफ तारक मेहता. लॉ कैसे प्रैक्टिस करें? लॉ की ना प्लीज पास्ट ईयर एग्जाम पेपर्स, आरटीपीज, लॉ एंड ऑडिट के लिए माय एडवाइस, आई माइट नॉट बी द एक्सपर्ट इन दैट बट बेसिस माय एक्सपीरियंस, just read how to write answers from the suggested answers in past year papers. आरटीपी में देखो कैसे 4 पैराग्राफ्स में आंसर दिया होता है. इंट्रोडक्शन, कंटेंट, कंक्लूजन, एडवाइस, राइट? ब्रेक इट डाउन इनटू दैट. There are some videos on YouTube also you can go and watch how to write answers for CA exams like law and audit specifically, right? Do that. आरटीपी कहाँ मिलेगा? बीओएस की वेबसाइट पे मिलेगा दोस्त. हिंडनबर्ग इज एन इन्वेस्टमेंट कंपनी हो, बहुत ही शैतान कंपनी है दोस्त. सीए के बाद भी जा सकते हो एमबीए में. आई एम जस्ट सेइंग इफ सीए डज नॉट वर्क आउट, सीए के बाद एमबीए तो आप कर ही सकते हैं, कौन रोकता है? एमबीए का तो फुल फॉर्म है मैं भी आ गया. एमबीए मींस मैं भी आ गया. एवरीबडी डज एमबीए. Can I solve RTP, MTP in November or after every chapter? Depends very. How do you want? If you want more confidence, every chapter वैसे पूरा syllabus करने के बाद करना चाहिए ideally in an exam format. Syllabus complete होने के बाद you should do RTPs and MTPs ideally. Awesome, Trishlang, you managing both college and CA. Superman है दोस्त. Great. Apurv says previous year questions are available on ICI website. Awesome. And with that, we have completed 4 chapters. सिर्फ 2 chapters बचे हैं. Next week Sunday we will have a revision. Please check the schedule. थोड़ा revision होगा, right? And I'll see you next week, guys, with a revision class. See you. Bye.